Nice little island vibe there. All right, let's see here. Should have all this set. All right, welcome to Island Moon Live on YouTube. We are waiting to jump on the radio. We're just going to run around and do a quick mic check on everyone. Tyler, how do you sound?
How's it work? Will it work okay?
Sounding good.
All right.
Good. Yeah, people on YouTube Live get to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't want to see what is being made, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's like watching the guy clean fish over there.
It's all part of the process.
Yeah, but all those birds come.
Yeah.
He's got pelicans
Yeah.
and herons over there.
You
When
should
the,
have seen the grander hardhead catfish that were coming out of there last night.
They're like piranhas, man. When those hardheads, it was I haven't seen them in a while, but there were pelicans the last time when
Yeah.
he was cleaning fish, and the hardheads come through and they boil that water. It's
Yeah.
crazy to see.
Are those the sheep's head thing with the spiny
No,
things?
no.
Those are different.
The
I saw them
hardheads
catching-
they're
okay.
they're catfish. They're
Oh, okay.
they're just not desirable
Mic
because
check, mic
they're
check,
bottom
mic
feeders
check.
here.
Test one,
Even
test
though if you
one.
catch
Have
them
to
in the
lean
surf,
forward
they're
for
okay.
this one.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do because you can't bring it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pulling
Mic
it way
check,
You
forward.
might
check.
scoot your chair up farther.
How do you sound, Jay? Where are you jumping in?
Right.
Jay's texting Zurich over there,
I'm waiting for Greg.
working on his finances.
So we'll still start with Barney Davis, even if we don't have
Greg?
yeah,
I'll get off when you talk about that.
I think,
How's this with two glasses on my head?
You look like
Nice.
me.
Oh yeah.
Wait, hey, where are my reading glasses?
Wait, where did I put my
3
camera? I need to
minutes,
get a picture of
Greg's on
that.
his way. So we'll put him here.
Yeah, I guess, unless you really.
All right.
I'll get off when he gets here.
I don't have to.
Tons of fun
You know
happening
more
out
about that
here
stuff.
on
Okay.
Greg invited me in for a few minutes.
We want you on with Greg.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can hang out.
this fun edition of Island Moon Live. We're glad you are joining us.
Who took that picture of the dog surfing? I love that.
If you want to
That's an
see
old
that picture, you can just go
That's
to
an old
islandmoon.com, where
Uh-huh.
issue 1144
Nice.
is published and will be on newsstands as of today.
Oh, that's right. Today's Thursday. I need to get better at getting photos to you, Dale. You need to figure out how to get them off of my site without me having to send you the links.
Okay.
All right, let's see, Tyler.
Yes,
we
sir.
we were talking earlier about the tides. We got about 4 minutes till we go live on 1440 and 98.7. But
What?
you noticed there was a shift in tides coming in this weekend, right? What was that?
We're going to 2 tide days, which is better in my opinion. I don't like the 4 tide days because they don't jump around enough.
Yeah.
But it looks like this weekend the tides are in early, so driving is going to be nasty going in, but they get better during the day. And so that's the kind of day you want to go run down the beach like midday. You don't have to get up at the crack of dawn.
You're going to hit the beach at slack tide, right?
No, you don't want to hit the beach at slack tide.
No.
Slack tide. Well, you want to drive during slack tide
Yeah.
because you want tide moving when you're fishing. And what's happening is guys are going south and they're looking for all kinds of. If you see all havoc wreaking loose, it's generally Jack Crevalle offshore, bait flipping out of the water. You'll see mullet come out with terrified looks on their face, and literally they look like
Dogs and cats living
right.
together.
Yeah,
the street.
they're flying out of the water. The sheep's head were off the chain chart over
I
at
saw
Bob Hall.
people at Bob Hall catching a lot of those
They're
yesterday.
catching a lot of those. They're catching sharks. They're catching, what else? Spanish mackerel. The flounder are around, and black drum. The big black drum are hitting right now. So usually any day that it's windy, but for some reason this weekend it's coming down a little bit.
Really?
Not so strong. So we don't have those big north winds, and we don't.
So
have,
windy is good for fishing.
It's good for black drum fishing. They like
Okay.
that windy weather. Places like Indian Point Pier, over at the mouth of Corpus Christi Bay, and of course all of the causeway places are good for those. And they're you got to let them go because they got full of worms. But
What's
they're fun to
the
catch.
so smaller keeper black drum are actually really good.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
there's 5 times the biomass, right, of black drum that there are trout.
Yeah.
So that's why they've been hanging out. There
he is.
A lot of the fishermen will be coming out, and
Senor Greg.
they'll go get a limit of trout, and they'll go after black drum. Same thing with reds.
It's rich.
What,
Do you want to put him here?
No, we'll move Greg right here. Here you go, Greg.
And Jay, you go over there. Who's that?
All right.
Tyler, do you go fishing or do you just talk about fishing?
I've been fishing, but I was injured for so long. The last time I went,
Ah.
yeah, because I couldn't
You
couldn't reel.
Yeah.
And it's hard to
Ah.
fish with one hand.
got a mic.
But,
Yeah.
But, no, I love to. It's like right now that it was just killing me to not be able to fish. But now that I can,
Now you can. You got that mobility back.
yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. So
Greg,
I'm looking forward to this.
how you sound, buddy?
Good.
All right.
No complaints. Sorry.
We'll be
I
the
sound
judge of that.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we'll beat you down a little bit, and you won't
Yeah.
sound so good.
beat away.
Okay.
I'm used to it. This is an easy crowd here.
How about that housing district?
Yeah.
Yes.
saw
Or
they hired-
Tuia.
We're going straight to windstorm. That's-
Straight,
yeah.
straight to
guy.
the jugular there.
Yes.
They hired the new guy I saw at the housing.
All right. Probably about a minute.
I met him. I met him at a chamber
like
event.
he's
He
a pretty
seems
good
seems
guy.
like a nice guy.
Oh yeah, he's
Well, everybody's a nice guy.
He's no medical examiner. He's not making that kind of money, is he?
he's no ex-housing authority banking. So our housing authority guy was the second highest paid in the state.
In the
I-
state.
well,
Oh,
I looked
among
at-
housing authority
No,
guys.
not
Yeah.
housing authorities, but the state of Texas. All
Really?
their 30,000 employees, he would have ranked number 2. in
Wow.
pay.
Are you
He
kidding?
must have been really good.
Yeah.
Was that like salary or was that salary plus bonuses? And,
Salary plus bonus.
Okay.
$796,000.
And how did he get those bonuses? Who decided that?
All right. Probably about 30 seconds.
He got a firm to say what his bonus should be, gave it to the board, and the board said, "Oh, okay."
They didn't. Nobody thought to look and see how that looked,
No,
relatively
no.
speaking, because everything's relative.
Everything's fine.
They didn't check.
Sounded good at the planning meeting.
This News Talk KUIS weather update is brought to you by MIC Sports Network.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Today will be sunny with a high of 82. Tonight, expect clear skies with a low of 59. Tomorrow will bring plenty of sunshine with a high of 85. On Saturday, it will be very warm with plenty of sunshine. In the afternoon, it will be breezy with a high of 88. Sunday will also be very warm with plenty of sunshine and breezy conditions in the afternoon, reaching a high of 87. Monday will be
Right.
partly sunny and breezy in the afternoon with a high of 85. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
And we are live from the waterline. It is a beautiful Island Moon Thursday. We are glad you're joining us where we talk about things going on North Padre Island, Port Aransas, and the Coastal Bend and beyond. Debbie Noble is here with Jay Gardner. We've got Greg Smith. We've got Dale Rankin, editor-publisher of the Island Moon. Tyler Thorson from corpusfishing.com, and my name is Jacob Oggs. We are glad you're with us. There's a ton for us to get to, so we're just going to dive right in and make this work. Where do we want to begin, guys?
Okay, so, all right, am I
Take
on?
it away, Dale.
Yeah.
All right, good. So, Greg, before we dive too much far off into Barney Davis, what I did, I couldn't remember whether they were two 560 megawatt generators or 580 megawatt generators. So I went to AI, right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to go to
Oh,
AI.
no.
So I looked it up, Barney Davis history, right? And Barney Davis, it said Barney Davis is a coal-fired plant that produces 1.21 gigawatts, and I was like, "What?
Back to the future.
This sounds like a junior high kid Saturday night,
Yeah.
Sunday night. He got an F on that.
Yeah.
So
It ended up on-
but then it went straight
Gigawatts.
to desal. So
How much power in a gigawatt? I don't even know.
1.21 gigawatt.
A
If you go-
gigawatt is 1,000 mesawatts. Actually,
Right.
a gigawatt is 1,000.
So if you use Mr. Fusion and go 88 miles an hour,
Yeah.
then you go back to when we had water.
Well, and
There
so
we go. It's back to the water future.
for people who are wondering who Barney Davis is, it is not the
Yes.
cousin of the purple dinosaur. It is the natural gas fired, not coal fired. Let's get that clear first.
Yeah.
Natural gas fired power plant that we are looking at right
Yeah.
now, right across the beautiful Upper Laguna Madre. We're here down at the Waterline Studios for another beautiful Island Moon Thursday. And
docks.
why? So let
who
everybody
owns
know,
it now?
why is Barney Davis relevant right now?
Well, we need water. And what the city is right now is any water at all cost. But as we look at Barney Davis, if you're going to go seawater desal, it is probably the lowest cost option out there if you procure it right. And to Jay, your question on there, there's actually 4 units, 2 gas-fired units, 2 steam-fired units.
Right.
The gas-fired about 200 megawatt.
Those are Coker units, right?
Well, no, they're just gas, not cokers.
They're all
Natural gas. So the 2 gas-fired units run one of the steam, that heat runs one of the steam turbines on there, and the other steam turbine that's older than most people listening on it, and it doesn't
Maybe.
run very often.
But
So
they,
what
but-
does that plant have to do with desal? That's all energy.
Okay, so when you, oh gosh, a decade ago, Charlie Zahn and I, we were talking to an outfit called RWE. They're big in the desal industry, and they were looking at this area. This is when the Eagle Ford Shale was going on strong. You had all the industry moving in to San Pat. And what they said, and these guys are international pros in it, we want to be at a power plant for 2 reasons. A, power.
Right.
And B,
Plants.
water.
Dang it, I was wrong.
Nice try, Jake.
Water circulation, because these plants suck in vast amounts of water
Yeah.
for cooling purposes on it.
It's always
So,
about cooling. Yeah.
yeah, the 2 biggest plants in the U.S., Carlsbad, California, at a power plant, and Tampa, Florida, at a power plant.
Carlsbad in Tampa, yeah.
Yeah, San Diego. Yeah. And the Tampa plant where they discharge their cooling water on there is a manatee
Sanctuary.
sanctuary.
It's a sanctuary.
That's how.
I've been there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Are
how.
there manatees basking in that warm water?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is where they do the discharge. So RWE was looking at the Nueces Bay power plant, which is also owned by the city of San Antonio along the port. And a little bit of ancient history on there is desal has been talked about for multiple decades with it. Texas did a study. They said, the place to be, I'm talking about the entire state of Texas, Barney Davis.
really?
Because they have power and they have that water circulation. So as the city was charging down the road on Inner Harbor, the intake structures on there were going to cost about $200 million. So, and that's an intake structure bringing in 60 million gallons a day. As we're sitting here talking, Barney is bringing in about 300 million gallons a day in their bought and paid for infrastructure or intake structure. You don't need it.
It came out at City Hall this week. Now you're on. Talk about you're on the 14-member water committee.
Oh, the
correct?
27 members.
27
27 or 26 cats and 1 dog.
But it sounds like that's kind of become I won't say the brain trust, but that's where the ideas are coming from. And at City Hall this week, they voted to move toward negotiations on the Barney Davis at the recommendation of this committee, right?
Well, the committee's looking at the salinity impacts, which to all of us is very important. And it's a lot of scientists on there, and not only scientists, but they're familiar with the Bay system, UTMSI, and Hart Institute, A&M-CC,
Right.
with it. And it little bit of a study of a study, because the people that are going to be hired, they've already done one of these. They're called a far-field salinity
Right.
study. Where does the salt go after it's been discharged? They did a near field, which is with a few hundred feet of the discharges. This is a far field. And if you go through, and it's on the port's website, the 23 study that this firm did, for the La Quinta channel, I was looking at it. The salinity impact in the overall bay system, the Gulf salinity is about 36 parts per thousand. In the 2011 drought, where you have massive amounts of evaporation that drive up salinity, the bay salinity was 38 parts per thousand.
Is that low or high?
Well, it's 2 points higher
Than seawater.
than the Gulf, but
That doesn't
What-
seem like a lot.
yeah, when you have evaporation, so a 30 million gallon a day plant will take out 90,000 acre feet of fresh water, sucks it out of the bay system on there. Evaporation in a year in the bay, there's 132,000 surface acres in the bay, sucks out 450,000 acre feet. So evaporation taking
Takes away more than-
450,000
Takes way
acre
more than
feet
that.
or 4 times what the city uses every year.
Right.
In the worst drought on record, only elevated the salinity by 6%.
Well, it seems like it's probably a workable deal.
It's a workable deal.
So the question that I get,
And one last thing about Barney Davis on there. So as these negotiations go,
that's what I was going to ask.
it is the best site for shipping that brine offshore with it to
Well-
put the pipe in and land
Right.
and
And
things.
so one of the questions that Dale and I were talking about yesterday, it's like, okay, so there's at least 2 16s that come in feeding that plant, and there's 120 that comes in, a 20-inch line as well, right? So I kind of looked up the stats, and they
No,
could.
there's a 42-inch line that runs down Yorktown Boulevard.
No, I'm talking about that goes offshore. So
Okay.
when you're at the beach, there's a couple of rigs that
Yeah,
are offshore,
right,
Bob
yeah,
Hall.
okay, yeah.
Those are natural gas plants, and those come in. All those lines come in underground
Yeah.
through the island and go to the Barney Davis. Some of them go around the Barney Davis
Mm-hmm.
and actually feed other places, but a couple come into the Barney Davis.
Yeah.
It's mainlined. That was really brilliant that they built the power plant and the offshore oil rigs to just that way you don't have to truck it. Everything's just right there. So the idea is, okay, if we're going to get rid of brine, so if you do use the intake structure, how do you get rid of brine? We can't put it in the Oso. The Oso has been historically dumped in with oil field brine and stuff like that. We've killed that bay I don't know how many times over the past 7 or 8 decades. But if we're trying to get the brine back offshore and use the existing infrastructure, a 20-inch can only do about a 3 MGD plant a day because you're producing what, 4.5 MGD, and then you have to put it
that's
under.
the upper limit with
Wait,
that line.
Right.
You
So you
figure-
can
yeah,
you
but-
could pipe burst it, right? There's this
Yeah.
process called pipe bursting where you send a pig down through there and
Right.
shove another pipe down through there. And I think you can take a 20 to about a 30, something like that.
I
So
don't think
get
that
us-
works for natural gas. These are high-pressure steel lines.
Right, yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah,
clay
you
or
can't pipe burst
PVC,
them, so
can
you'd have to
pipe
put a
burst,
new
but
line.
You got to put in a new
So
line.
So how realistic, Greg, is Barney Davis? So the next step, as I understand it, the plant is owned by City Public Service in San
Yeah,
Antonio, which
that's
is
correct.
owned by the city of San Antonio,
Yes.
Okay.
which bought it to produce power so they could do away with their coal-fired plants at peak use.
Yeah.
So in order to get use of the Barney Davis plant, you got to go through the board of directors at City Public Service, which is appointed by the City Council of San Antonio, and which gives 14% of its gross revenue to the city of San Antonio.
$650 million a year, folks. The general fund for Corpus Christi, that pays for police, fire, parks, and the general thing is 300 something, or was when I was there.
Right.
300 million. So
I used to cover those meetings, and they're somber affairs. There's no joking going on. There's
Yeah.
a lot of money flying around, but at the end of the day, their interest is in providing power to San Antonio. They don't much care about providing water to Corpus Christi, do they?
Well, a couple of things on there. They use about 300,000 gallons a month on there. So the water, without that water, that plant doesn't run.
Right.
This is fresh water, boiler feed water, not cooling water
Right.
on there. And San Antonio is always looking for water. So
Aren't we all?
you take Corpus Christi's broad water sources. We get them from the Colorado River, we get them from the Navidad River, we get them from wells, we get water from 2 big lakes. We got some swapola opportunities in there.
So you do a water swap. They don't have to build pipelines.
That's exactly right. So there is some definite synergy going on there. And again, San Antonio running out of water, they might, we can go offshore on the discharge. We've got this intake and can suck in 500 million gallons a day, so you could produce 2.5 times what Corpus uses in 250 million gallons a day
Right.
in fresh water on there. They have talked about doing a pipeline. They've talked about desal. So there's really a lot of opportunity sitting there.
Well, I think, the thing that gets me is that people are just now noticing the Barney Davis power plant. And if you really want to get noticed, you need the proper promotional products from our friend Ted at Impact Marketing. He's down there
Why
off
didn't
of
we think of that?
423 Schatzel Street, downtown.
Ted's
Go
the
reach
answer
out
for
to
water.
Ted. You can go to impactmarketingcc.com. They do everything from screen printing, embroidery, They've got safety gear, little bits of technology. I keep joking about getting a deck of cards with my brother-in-law's picture on them. Anything you can think of, they are your premier promotional products provider. So reach out to them at 887-9300 or go to impactmarketingcc.com. Everybody hold fast. We will be back in a little bit.
I wonder if you can put, maybe he could put the moon logo.
All the top players, predictions, and more. Check out the online digital version now and be on the lookout for the print magazine all season long. Go to 1440games.com.
Okay.
Looking for an auto shop that still believes in honesty and hard work? Come by OG Automotive, a family and veteran-owned business serving Corpus Christi with pride.
I think
At OG Automotive, we're not here to upsell you, we're here to help you. We combine decades of hands-on experience with today's best tools and diagnostics to get the job done right. From oil changes and brakes to full engine rebuilds. If it rolls, we can fix it. That means diesel trucks, 18-wheelers, work trucks, and big rigs too, because we know how important it is to keep your business moving. You'll never get rushed, pressured, or overcharged, because we believe every customer deserves respect and straight answers. Whether you drive a family car or a fleet of heavy-duty trucks, we treat every job like it matters, because we treat every vehicle like it's our own. And that's how family does business. Visit us today at 5602 Old Brownsville Road, Unit C, here in Corpus Christi, Texas, or give us a call at 361-724-7494 to book your appointment today. OG Automotive.
With the nice thing,
Navigating the ever-changing landscape of tax laws can be complex and daunting. And whether you're dealing with personal tax planning, business tax strategies, or facing specific challenges like filing, office and compromise, you need to stay informed and get professional guidance. At Cox Law, they are dedicated to providing you with the expertise and support you need to manage your tax matters effectively and confidently. Contact them at coxlaw.com or give them a call, 361-866-3819.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly.
Probably.
Well,
Adam Hinojosa
where you can meet them
put the
fast.
legislation for these entities in last session. So, Adam's fully on board. He created the ability to go in there, work with SAWS, and have leadership that doesn't go through city council.
Right, that's the key here. I don't think we'll talk about that. I don't think the city council's going to
Just head to ziprecruiter.com.
That's what they've already got. That's what I heard the governor say is you're not getting any more money from me.
He's starting to come around. Yeah, the city council has negative credit.
So try it now.
Yeah, you bring up corporate.
You heard that first on 1440.
ziprecruiter.com.
Well, they didn't hear it on 1440. They heard it on YouTube Live.
Yeah.
But we got to go Buck Days, though. There's that.
Yeah. We got a great Buck Day.
This is Congresswoman Monica Dela Cruz. It's tax season.
Too bad Blake's not here to mispronounce your name. Filipino, Filipaldi. That was the racer, Emerson.
Seymour Hoffman.
We boosted the child tax credit for hardworking
That's what
Texans.
it's in my phone.
We have
Johnny Rodeo.
Yeah. For seniors, we ended taxes on Social Security. We're helping you keep more of your money paid for with official funds from the office of Congresswoman Monica Dela Cruz.
I drove up.
More news, more information.
I drove up.
Okay,
This
coming
is
back.
News Talk KEYS.
I mean, that river ain't flowing, right?
No, it's not. And so
Where's all the
also,
water going?
It ain't there.
it ain't
Going
there.
up in the air.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And we are here. We're back. Okay,
Actually,
welcome back to Island Moon Live from the. We are live from our Waterline Studios over here, just below Doc's Seafood and Steaks.
Speaking of Waterline,
Well, yes,
That's a good one.
and-
So-
yeah,
Perfect spot.
I was.
All
we
water
got
all the time.
I was driving up to Houston a couple of weeks ago, and I saw that the Lake Texana was drawing a little bit low, right? More than it had been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I marked a specific tree in my mind. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, that tree is at the water line, right? I drove back 2 days later, and there was like probably 50 yards in between that and the next tree.
Really?
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's making acres of land
Or it's
in the
moving
bad
trees.
way in a lake.
Yeah.
A lake shouldn't be making
Making
acres of land. So anyway,
Well, they say
yeah.
that God's not making any more land, so that's a lie.
Yeah.
It is. He's just doing it in his own way. I was watching the city council this week, and a lady during the always enlightening citizen
Public
speaker
comment,
section of
public
the
comment.
program.
Always
My
enlightening,
favorite.
yes.
She rose
Get
to
some
speak
popcorn.
against all of these plants that we have for wasting water.
Yes.
She says she is just baffled why we keep building plants to waste water, and it brought the audience to a stunned silence. Well, how do you respond to that?
Yeah.
We're not in favor of wasting water, and we have plants that do
yeah.
nothing but waste
Water
water.
waster plants, yeah.
And it was a $5 or $3 million on the agenda to build another plant to waste water out here on the island, and she was not happy about that.
Wait, what plant are we building out here?
Wastewater.
We got
The Whitecap.
Whitecap
Yeah.
wastewater
Why do you
plants. so
keep
they-
funding that?
Well, we got
waste-
six.
Oh my God.
We
Why
have
are
6
we
water
wasting-
waster
building
plants.
plants
Yes,
to waste
okay.
water?
I gotcha.
And so that was the level of discourse.
You
But
definitely
what I
need popcorn when watching.
but
public
what I
comment.
did
Just
get
gotta
out
turn
of
it
that,
off at that point.
what I got out of watching that meeting is it looks like the council is relying heavily on this committee that you guys are doing. And I was really surprised. You've been talking about doing Barney Davis for a couple of years on this show. Now all of a sudden, he's the most handsome guy at the prom. Old Barney Davis is looking pretty good.
And I'm not sure, but talking about fake AI and things, I think Barney Davis was an old executive for Central Power and Light, the predecessor.
I believe
to
I was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He
not
was- he
Barney
was a
the dinosaur.
He was a cousin to Bob Hall.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, Barney and Bob.
Barney and
Oh,
Bob.
So,
We
so
love them
where
out
does
here.
this go, Greg? So what has to happen now for it to be a reality?
Okay,
And is it going to be a reality?
So the ball is in San Antonio's court, CPS's court with it. They have to, I think we have the drive here to do it. There's been engineers on there, and talking about CPS, quietly CPS has gone in and done a study themselves. So, it's on their radar.
Oh, for desal?
So
For
did
desal.
Talon and
Yeah.
everybody that's owned that has.
Yeah, so they know about it with it, but they have to agree to go along with it. Now, Rudy Garza, their CEO, grew up in Corpus, and he was an assistant city manager before he went up there. So you've got
What's his
Got some
position now?
connections.
he is the head of CPS.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so he's San Antonio based.
He's
now.
San Antonio based. So we've got some, and Corpus Christi and San Antonio have always had natural ties
Yeah.
with it. And
So the carrot for San Antonio is they could do a water swap and not have to build a pipeline.
well, the carrot for several carrots on there with it. One, it's 11 or 1,200 acres. There's all the room in the world with it. Desal's a big power consumer on there
Right.
with it. Now, the power will go into the grid and then into the plant, but that helps the
Right.
plant going in there. What can happen with water on there? It won't come for nothing, so there'll be some lease arrangements or something for the land
Plus
Right.
14%.
with it.
Right.
And-
With 14% right off the top.
Yeah.
That's the big.
and then there's been a question about property tax on there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is
that's right.
this taxable or not? And to give you an example, the LCRA owns some transmission lines that go into that plant, and they pay property tax. The property tax law is if you're using something for a public purpose, a school or a park or something, it's tax exempt. If it's used for a private purpose, you're supposed to pay property tax.
Right.
And
So do
city
they pay
publics-
property tax now?
no, they said no, we don't fall under that. So there's quite
So
the
there's
legal
a
question.
negotiating point right
There's
there.
a negotiating point on there. We'll accept that you're using it for public purpose, even though it goes into that power out of that plant goes in the overall grid. It can end up in Midland, or
Right.
most of it probably goes to the valley.
Right.
It doesn't go. CPS doesn't own a line from Barney
Right.
Davis to
But
San
wouldn't the
Antonio.
Flower Bluff School District have to sign off on that? Because because they were getting $2 million a year in property tax,
Yeah.
and now they're
Now
on,
they're toast.
Yeah,
Nothing
Right.
like it.
So they would have to sign off on that.
I'm
in
sorry,
some
Chris
way.
Steinbrook is texting me right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, we have
And
to
the
find
ESC
out
number
if,
two.
First of all, we have to find out if desal is legal in the Bluff. We don't know. There could be a law somewhere that we're not aware of.
Yeah. Well, I've lived on the OSO 63 years.
Yeah.
On there. Before, I'm related to Barney the dinosaur. And before Barney Davis came in, the best thing that happened to Cayo del Oso was that Barney Davis plant pumping that water. in
Right.
there.
Even though it's, hypersaline from
Yeah.
here, but they were pumping in
They were pumping
60 to 70 parts per thousand from the brine from oil field.
No,
So
Two-
it-
200 parts
Oh
per
yeah,
thousand.
and all
But
kinds
yeah.
of fun stuff that was also going down Petronia into the top arm of Alizon.
Well, just
Speaking of water.
up from my
Yeah.
house, there was an 8-inch pipe, the old Flower Bluff oil field. So you go by there, and it didn't smell like salt water. We'd go. I
You
was
make
kidding.
margaritas with it.
Oh, yeah, and then some. You sell it as a health.
Well, one of the
supplement.
questions I constantly get is, when are we going to run out of water? That's what people are starting to wake up, and are we going to run out of water? So I went through the numbers. I just used the city's timeline.
Yeah.
And basically, there's a study out there now that says we hit the tipping point in June, and we have 180 days before the term they use is not able to meet, supply is not able to meet demand, which is another way of saying we're out of water.
We're out of water.
So fill up your bathtub right now.
Yeah.
No,
Get
I'm
some
just kidding.
toilet
Don't do
paper.
that. Yeah.
So
yes, and buy all the toilet paper.
Put them in the freezer.
the real key is Jay going by watching the trees
Yes.
at Texana. If we get just round numbers, about 40% of our water out of Texana. We get about 30% of our water out of the Colorado, and 30% of our water out of the other sources.
Yeah.
If we lose Texana, that 40%. Yeah.
Well, now, didn't the governor
got a
do
problem.
something this week to?
Get some waivers.
Yeah, he basically stopped, I guess, Austin from coming in and declaring emergency or something. He did something
Yeah.
to help secure it as the lake level drops.
Yeah, and so we've got the Colorado River. We're the second most senior rights on the lower Colorado. That starts at Austin South. with
Right.
it. But and remember, about 35% of our water comes there. But you can declare an emergency, and then your pecking order, our second most
Austin jumps ahead of us.
Yeah, Austin comes ahead of us on there. We're getting every day. They're drilling, adding more water wells there on the Nueces River,
Yep.
but these are salty. You've got to have
Yeah.
fresher water to blend in them.
Blend in.
Well, I heard this week at the council meeting the Nueces is not flowing below the saltwater retention dam now.
Oh, it hadn't
hasn't
for a
done-
year.
It hasn't done that in years.
Yeah.
Huh.
So people, why do they keep letting water go from the lake? Well, that's how it gets to Owen Stevens.
That's how it gets to your tap.
That's how it gets to your faucet. Yeah.
So realistically, Barney Davis could happen.
Yeah, Barney Davis could happen. There's another one out there, CC Polymers too.
So
you'll be
was
hearing
CC
about that.
Polymers the one that had the equipment that's been sitting out for
Yes.
12
It's been
years?
sitting there for a long time. yeah.
Basically, you have to flick the switch, and you got 9 million gallons a day.
But is it like viable? I mean,
Yeah.
that could be a thing, huh?
They never
Absolutely.
actually had it running though, did they?
No, they once you charge your filters on there, you got to keep it running. So
Right.
they never they ran the pre-treatment, which is the more important side. So they've run it, but they never hit the filters.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll be right back in a little bit. We've got Debbie Noble, Greg Smith, Jay Gardner, Tyler Thorson. My name is Jacob Boggs. Dale Rankin is here as well. This is the Island Moon Live crew. We're going to jump away real quick, but hold fast. We'll be back in a moment.
So I got to go check Jay's tree.
Categories will be awarded that day, plus vendor booths, live music, and an appearance by the world-famous Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Imports, Jeeps, lowriders,
Hey, thank you.
motorcycles, classics, muscle cars, and more. Show up and show out at the 2026.
We want to talk about spring break, I think, don't we?
Spring break and Buck Days. Okay.
We didn't get to tell them about like what you really have, because it sounded like a non-starter for them.
What?
For the San Antonio thing? CPS sounded like a non-starter. Like,
It
first
sounds
of all,
like Child Protective Services.
Yeah.
That's where I go
The first
first.
time I heard it, I
Yeah,
was
I'm
like,
like, wait,
man,
what?
Me too, but
Need to get their
what they said is,
acronyms
no,
straight.
we're not going to give you reduced rate. No, we're not going to do this. No, we're not going to do that.
Oh, right.
And then he comes back with the Carg Island. Oh, you want that 650 million? Because when we run out of water, we're squeezing you by the short hairs, Saddam.
So-
Khomeini. Because
Khomeini.
that's their Carg Island. It's like if we stop the water on their Carg Island, there goes at $658 million.
So our friends on
see ya.
are all set?
Good to see you, Johnny Rodeo.
Jump on in.
come on
Right in. I'll help with the transition. And I gotta
Yes, just mute everybody.
Well, we can talk
We're
about
jamming,
that.
brother. I appreciate it.
Start touching it. Yeah.
Water related, we should get back to that.
Right. So what they said, you
Outstanding.
cannot use our
Yeah, yeah.
discharge permit. But there wasn't a period.
Yeah.
You can't use our intake.
Nice.
Well, there wasn't a
Yeah.
period without being revised, right? So you have to go through DCQ.
Awesome.
leave the door open. Yeah, they did leave the door open. in their
Yeah, appreciate it, man. That's cool. Outstanding. And
the
all our
infrastructure
friends
way,
watching on
Greg,
Island Moon Live get to see how the sausage is made.
But
It can be ugly sometimes, but sometimes it's pretty fun.
Yes.
Funny.
the pipelines and how, which way the water flows.
What's your segue going to be now?
Flows downhill.
You know, I was walking outside and I stepped in some cow poo, and I was thinking about
You know what I mean?
Buck Days. That reminds me, Johnny. We have a manure sponsor. We would like to thank you for Turner's Garden Land for your composted manure.
All the Soylent Green.
Whoa,
It's people.
bro.
Why not get real cash back? Get free money, download
I like being able to hear the ads. We know what's coming at us.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah, what's the delay?
none.
There's no delay. That's kind of cool.
It's nice working with pros.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're sliding on the ass.
Yeah.
So we don't have to wait for that pause, like 40 seconds. Oh,
Are we on? I don't know.
No. We're-
No, I'm just kidding. 40-second delay.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
That was fun.
So we had to just play.
More news, more information. This is News Talk KEYS.
Second and a half. You can't talk with that.
Yeah, right.
And we are back. It is Island Moon Live. We are down here at the waterline, just below Doc's Seafood and Steaks at the base of the beautiful JFK Causeway. We've got Johnny Rodeo with us. And it's, I think it's about time to talk Buck Days. When does everything really start kicking off?
So we actually started a little earlier this year, April 18th.
Okay.
We will kick things off with a new event we're doing over in Portland. And then up to, there we
you
go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously the main festival activity, April 30th through May 10th. So we're
So
we're gearing up.
what's happening on the 18th in Portland?
Yeah, so honestly, the city of Portland approached us this past summer and said, "Look, we're building this new facility, Fifth and Elm. Do you have any use for it? And we'd love to do something with y'all." And we went and looked at it, and it's, if you haven't been, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. I've been there. It's like a giant indoor-outdoor community center. It's amazing.
Yeah. So what we've come up with, we're calling it the Buck Day Sunrise Stampede. We're moving our kiddie parade, children's parade, not the big night parade, and the 5K to the front of the event. We feel like they've always kind of gotten lost on that last weekend of Buck Day, so we're going to have those happen in Portland, and everything converge on Fifth and Elm that morning, where we'll have a cowboy breakfast, we'll have Chuck Wagon serving coffee,
Nice.
biscuits, we'll have
Okay.
live music, just fun, free
So
activities.
what event are we doing on the island?
Well, you know
We
that's
want
on my
some
bucket
Buck
list
Days.
to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
yeah.
a
Let's
cowboy
do some.
breakfast
It's
on
on
the
the
beach.
Buck Days
so-
bucket list.
Yeah.
it's-
Who's your headliners?
Yeah, so
Music-wise.
so rodeo.
You got Marshall Tucker coming, right?
That's right. So there's seven nights of performances this year. We've added concerts to all of them. So the PBR nights we'll have Carly Pierce the Friday, May 1st. Larry the Cable Guy, the comedian, May 2nd. And
Good. My cable's been acting up.
There you
Think
go.
I-
Come
maybe I
on
can
over.
hook
You
him.
might have to
Get him out here.
check in with him.
And then on Tuesday, I'm going to mess up the date here, but the Tuesday of rodeo, we'll have Marshall Tucker Band. We're real excited
Wow.
about them. Wednesday, Switchfoot. Thursday, David Lee Garza. A whole bunch
You
of
typically sell out for those shows?
not sellouts for those first couple,
Yeah.
but the Friday, Saturdays are usually all sold out, and we're on
So
pace
the
for all that.
Buck Days comes in right after, I guess, the San Antonio and Houston rodeos.
Well, so it's kind of a circuit of things. So Houston's going on right now. San Antonio was just before.
Yeah.
Austin will finish things up here, and then they'll go to San Angelo, and then we're right after
And
that.
then we're
So,
after that.
What's the biggest annual challenge you have putting these events together?
Usually it's something different every year.
Yeah.
This year it's and it looks. I just drove around it earlier today. This year, it's been the nerves of where's the bridge teardown going to be during the festival.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
It's
You could
impressive. They're
turn that
knocking
into an event. Or have the
Yeah,
bridge teardown day.
At the rate they're going now, it may be gone. It's. I mean,
Really?
they've turned it up
Yeah.
a notch. It's pretty impressive.
I
all the
watched
stuff
them the other
they're
day.
knocking
You could see the sparks flying as they were working on it.
So it's so it kicks off. The very first day is early May.
April 30th
April
this year.
30th.
We spill over into April just the way the
And it
the
runs
calendar
for
fell.
what? 10 days.
11 days.
11 days.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Wow.
sir.
And you've got barbecue cook-off now, right?
Yeah, so we have the big corporate tents, but last year we started a showcase of all the local barbecue restaurants. So we've got, I think it's like $25 right now to buy a ticket and come sample barbecue. And when I say sample, it's like a boat of barbecue.
Yeah, I couldn't sample that many. I couldn't try all of them.
And so you'll have everybody from Rockport to Mathis and everywhere in between.
There were some great.
Do you
and that's
have-
right over by the art museum again.
It's going to be a little more centered on the event this year.
Okay.
Just to pull more and more of the people into it.
Who's your demographic for these events? Where is your audience?
The Coastal
come from?
Bend.
It's mostly local.
Well, about 10 to 15% are out of town. If you look at our heat maps, we follow San Antonio, the Valley, Houston, Austin. But what we've added here in recent years are a ton of competitions for youth. You know, you mentioned Houston and San Antonio; they all have a stock show.
Right.
Yep.
Mutton busting.
That's right. Well,
that too. Yeah.
I tried that one year for a story I was working on. It didn't work out very well.
But
for you or for the mutton?
Either one.
That's right. So for our setup with the convention center, we really focused on educational competitions like robotics.
Yeah, you
public
had some really
speaking,
cool robotics.
All of these things, and so
You did even kids cooking over at the Science Museum.
So there's all sorts of STEAM programming for kids. We'll have. Last year a team from Mexico City flew in to compete in our robotics competition.
Really?
Oh, that's amazing.
That's fun.
Who won? Who ended up winning?
I don't remember.
There's several different. There's
a lot of categories.
There's a lot of categories, and
maybe one of those kids could bring in a desal demonstration.
That's what we need. Let's have a desal competition.
We apparently don't know how to do it.
We are doing a drone competition this year, so I'll put
awesome.
desal in the books for next year.
For next year.
I was joking. Shouldn't joke with this, but at City Hall, they're like, "All right, you maybe in Kirk-Teltman in May. What are y'all going to do?" And it's like, well, we'll just put a hose out there and figure out how to sift our own salt out of
Right.
the water.
I've been looking around, trying to do that in my backyard, figure out how to drop a hose in the canal.
Absolutely.
So what's the one event that you would most like to add to Buck Days? Is there something out there?
Good question. For us, it's really been focused on the growth in the youth competitions for young people. I think you'll see us continue to build on, what are the schools looking for? What are our industry partners looking for
Right.
In terms of career opportunities? So anything
some
we can
welding
do
and
to-
pipe fitting out there.
Yeah, no, we're looking at those things.
Well, that's what we were asking you last year because I said, all these kids now they're playing with their devices and their
right.
blocks and all that kind of stuff that they're playing. How do you get, farmers will die unless you get young
Right.
people involved in growing food, growing crops, growing animals, whatever. So how do you get more of them involved? How do you get them away from the playing the video games? and
Did
all
you
that
just
stuff?
kids these days? Us
Kids these days, kids, yeah. Well, they're a different group because we never grew up having let me look at my device. It's
No.
like and they're
We
not.
had to go to the library.
Yeah, you had to go to Dewey Decimal
Speaking of
System
which,
was
I'm gonna
Google.
go there today.
Well, and great point. I'm a big believer in 4-H and Flow East in the 4-H program here in Flower Bluff, Padre Island. My son's a part of it.
I saw you raised
He had a steer. We was born in Flower Bluff and took it to the Houston Rodeo.
Did he know what happened to it afterwards?
Oh yeah.
I went to live on the farm.
That's part of what you
That's
learned.
part
That's part
of
of
it.
what
And
part of
Rainbow
it.
Bridge Farm, right?
But it's truly, and when you work with them that long, you love them. But you're also at the end of the project, you're kind of ready to see them go because you're
Right.
Well, they've been having
it's
record funds that they're getting to Houston. They're just
phenomenal.
$1 gazillion. Yeah.
It's
So
phenomenal
what
support.
event could we do on the island? I mean,
Yeah.
Buck Days, it seemed like the island would be natural. We could have a treasure hunt or something maybe.
We could skin cows at Packery. like
There's
the old
a
days.
historical nod.
I'd love to figure out something. I honestly, the cowboy breakfast idea, I think would be so cool to in
Do it right on the seawall.
seawall or on the
Yeah.
beach even. We
On the
could have
beach, yeah.
chuck wagons on the beach. If
You
long
could
as
have a
we're-
cattle drive, just like they used to do when Greg's great
Right.
grandpa was there.
When Greg lived here.
We'll do an island trail ride.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, we got horses
Dom
out here. We got the
Patricio
horses
trail
on the beach
ride.
out here.
That'd
Absolutely.
be cool.
Well,
I made the
Greg
mis-
just left. He's the guy that used to
I
push the
know.
cattle over
I know.
the causeway over
But,
there.
he,
right?
but
That's
they
right.
drove them across the Laguna Madre in the winter tides. I don't think we want to
couldn't do that.
Yeah,
no.
no.
No, there's a certain strip that you had to avoid because you'd lose your cattle over there in the pits.
Like
So
All right,
you-
a
Yeah.
trail
Oh, wow.
ride and a cowboy breakfast sounds good. We'll work
But
on that.
we don't do trail rides with our rodeo, do we? in
We
Corpus?
don't. I think probably the time of year it's a little hotter
Yeah.
and just
Man, I did one of those
Yeah.
South Texas trail ride for the San Antonio.
Did you
And
go?
you're
How was it?
You're riding straight into the teeth of a north wind.
Oh, yeah.
We had a blue northern come in. We got up that morning and they washed the coffee pot and set it on the Coleman stove. When they picked it up, the grate froze to the bottom of the coffee pot. It was so cold. We were the only team that moved that day because we had a satellite truck and they were too embarrassed
wow.
to say they couldn't go anywhere. So we went about a mile and okay, that's that.
That's it.
I never did it again. But I always wonder why we didn't have them here. I guess they'd all have to come south.
Yeah, and south, and I think, you think about there's only a handful of groups that do them, and after Houston, Austin, San
Yeah.
Antonio,
Yeah, we're done
you know,
riding, yeah.
Well, they stay out
Their
for
faces are
3 or
pretty
4
blistered
days.
up by the
Yeah.
time they
3
get
or
to
4 or 5 days, and I used to work downtown at the Express News at 3rd Street, and
Yep.
and they would ride into town and camp on the outskirts of town. All of these trail rides, 1,000 people, and then they would show up on Friday morning in front of the news building and ride down the
Right
street
down
in
the
the
street,
parade.
yeah.
And I think they quit doing that. I don't because
They still have the parade. I don't know if the trail ride's part
Well,
of it.
they
or
did
not,
it because in the old days the reporters would sit up in the window and take pictures of the parade.
Interesting.
And but boy, you talk about a mess in the street after they went through.
Yep.
That's what
You know?
the San Antonio, they had an ordinance that keeping the horse carriages from going around
Oh, downtown.
downtown on the, yeah.
You talk to the guy who's
River
got the
walk.
shovel following those horses around. Say, man, you ever think about getting another job? And he says, what? Leave show business?
I keep thinking about Seinfeld with the Beefarino and the
Beefarino.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's. But anyway, so that's great that you're getting the kids involved and more involved
Yeah.
with that, and doing the things like we saw the sheriff had his kid make some wonderful blind, deer blind, and
Oh yeah, for
barbecue
the
pits,
ag
yeah.
mechanics type
Yeah.
stuff and all that. So, yeah, no, it's for us, it's what can we do to inspire young people to pursue their goals. We're actually, you mentioned the art museum earlier. We're looking at doing a very competitive art competition down the road for young people that
Nice.
that gives it's not just everybody in their class
Right.
turn in a piece of
A
art.
judged,
'cause-
Right,
a
right.
judged,
Yeah.
a judged
And-
thing. How did Buck Days start?
Yeah, great
When
question.
did it start? I
So-
don't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's a good
So
question.
1938 was the official
Really?
year
Wow.
of Buck Days. Before that, it was Splash Days.
Okay.
And we the way the story was told to me was a group of
You
at the
weren't
time-
there in 1938?
Yeah, no. Greg would have
There
to.
might
Greg would
have
have to
been
answer
some
that,
real
yeah.
Buccaneers
So,
in that time.
but I guess the chamber at the time was kind of involved, and they were truly using it as a way to bring people to the Coastal Bend before the summer run. They
Okay.
need a boost
Oh,
to the
right.
economy, and
Okay.
and if you look at a lot of different things
Well, now
were
does the-
coming out of 1938 were just these different events popping up to try to boost local
Does the
economies.
mayor actually walk the plank, or does the mayor just jump off the boat?
I'll
Is
let
there
you.
an actual plank?
There's a plank, but
Doesn't always walk it.
she'll jump.
I've watched
she's
a lot
good
of different
sport, yeah.
mayors walk
Yeah.
that plank and jump in the
She's
water.
a good sport on it for sure. And
When did that first start? When did the first one, or
Good question. I want to say the very first one. I have pictures
Of the mayor actually doing
the
it?
mayor
They
doing.
That's
got
awesome.
the mayor pocketing
That's
money,
a-
made him walk the plank.
That's a
He'll
great
hold the better.
tradition.
Yeah. So and honestly, I'm one of our projects. We're trying to pull together all the old pictures of that and maybe do just kind of
nice.
a collage on the
Probably
wall.
in the Caller
That's
archives.
cool.
They're
Yeah.
over at the museum now. They were at the Caller Times building. They've now moved them.
Over
I'm
to
sure
the
it's-
Science and History Museum?
Yeah, that's great. So,
Yeah, it's a very
With all the
extensive
Doc
files.
McGregor's photos are over there too.
Well, so we're about a month away, something like that.
Yeah, about a month, little more than a month, but here we come. So it's-
Any closing thing we need to know?
Everything we're doing is supporting education in the coastal bend. Last year, $360,000 plus to support scholarships and
yeah.
museum and all the Harbor Playhouse we help.
How do we buy tickets?
Buckdays.com.
Buckdays, because you got separate tickets to
Oh,
all
I
kinds
gotta
of.
go see
You
Marshall
can get
Tucker
tickets to
Band.
all kinds of different things.
Well,
Oh, by the way,
outstanding.
we want to thank you guys for your Buck Raiders for being in the Barefoot
that
Mardi Gras
was
parade.
great.
We love having them
it,
in there.
and
Great job.
Love to be
Nice,
a part of
nice
it.
float. A lot of energy with those guys. We love them.
Well, tons of stuff to get to. Everybody, hold fast. We will return shortly.
News Talk KUIS brings you more news, facts, and information. We're giving you even more.
You coming out?
We've teamed up with our
Yes, I
friends
am.
at
I can stay for an hour, and then I'm going to the food and wine thing.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I'll be there from like 4 to 5.
Marshall Tucker Band, I was a big fan of Troy Caldwell.
No,
Kicked the bucket.
Yeah,
But
it'll be
I think
fun
there's
though.
one left. I think there's one original.
It'll be a good one.
love song, Big
They had a bunch of
They had a bunch. Yeah, that's one of
Troy
them.
Caldwell.
Can't you see?
played-
If I can
played,
help in any way,
Gibson with his
anything,
tongue.
She's really good. She's a lot of help.
Tommy knows me.
Oh, I think.
Yeah, I would love
I
to
think
help.
what-
I'd love to
what,
be, because that's one of the
Roger
things I've
McWilliams.
never really been involved with.
Well,
is
it's
that
12th
place.
Street, you gotta use the catch.
Text me or there's a
Sounds
date
brighter with the pick.
or last fall.
You get that twang.
Those things
Yeah.
are a bitch to keep
They'll be
tuned up.
opening.
Well, that's what I say about my 12 string.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I tell people I'm a 12 string player, and it's like, yeah, I spend half my time tuning the guitar, the other half playing an out of tune
Thank you.
guitar.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, Johnny.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Come on in, Frank. I don't know what time we got. We still got an hour. I have a hard time with getting ads. Good, how you doing?
I'm surviving, barely. I'm making it.
Yours are static. So you didn't come flying from New York or Cozy Coast or?
I came in from New York just to do the friggin' Louis, to help with silent auction and then to do the Louis raffle. And then from CCA Corporate. Did you not hear about that?
No, not today.
I got my one little feeling stepped on.
Your one little feeling.
And Denise, when is Whoop It Up?
Whoop It Up is April the 10th.
Okay.
Shimmer on the Seashore, but I want to talk just like 2 seconds about today's the 10th anniversary of the Pottery Island Farmers Market at White
Yes.
Cat.
Oh, cool. Okay.
47,
Well, we have
and
some
we're
news out of there this week too, so
we're bringing back the kids' corner.
Jesse.
Won't be there tonight.
I won't be there tonight, but I'll come back next
But
time. Are we moving to twice a month, or are we staying?
we're moving to twice a month. It's
Okay,
going to be
cool.
the second and the fourth,
Second and the fourth.
Thursday
Nice.
of every month.
Yeah.
Except in November and December, and because the
Right,
holidays will be
holidays.
one in each one.
Yes.
It's going to be second and fourth
Yeah.
at
I'll be
White
there
Cat.
tonight for like an hour, and then I have to go
Okay,
to Katie, but that's,
Yeah.
I'll take as many.
Oh, is that the wine thing?
Yeah. Are you going to that?
White Truck guys this week.
Uh-huh.
I'm
They're
babysitting.
really ramping that thing up. They're gonna have it up this
My
week. Some
kids
of
My
taking
them-
his
babysitting
wife.
days are over.
It's
Well, these
starting-
are
yeah, it's really
13-year-old, 11-year-old boys.
Stuff over there.
So I'll just
And they're,
Yeah.
they're really stepping up and becoming community partners. Like I remember when they very first came, before they were ever doing anything, and I went and called on them. I was still at the school back then, and I'm like, I'm just going to ask y'all to, every time you see me, I'm going to be asking you to open your purse. And
Okay, coming back.
and they've been pretty good.
KUIS.
That's right, and we are back. Welcome back to Island Moon Live. Denise Hawkins, Dale Rankin, Tyler Thorson, Frank Floyd, Debbie Noble, and my name is Jacob Oggs. Just in case you thought we didn't have enough people here, we keep
got
trading
more.
them out.
Collectively, we're a brain trust.
Yes, exactly. and lots of stuff to get to. It was great having Johnny Rodeo on talking about Buck Days
yeah.
and there's a lot of stuff with farmers coming up, and it seems like every farmer that I know
They need a
drives a
market.
truck. And if you need to get into a new truck, you need to talk to Frank at Discount Motor Company, right there off of 6601 SPID. They're right between Turner's and the movie theater. You can call them at 851-2900 or just go to discountmotorcompany.com. You can see the inventory, the stuff they have right there. If you've been aching to get into that new F-250, it's some good four-wheel drive diesel action. If you need fleet vehicles, if you got to get rid of something, Frank wants to buy your car. He will pay $500 more than the big box store right across the street where you have to deal with other managers and all these other people. No, just go talk to Frank at Discount Motor Company. And if you're a farmer and you buy a new truck, then you can take your new truck to the Padre Island Farmers Market, which is tonight. Is that correct?
Yay!
Yes,
It is tonight. So tonight is actually the 10th anniversary of the farmers market.
Wait, is there going to be cake?
Ah, there should be cake.
There
There
should
is
be
a
cake.
lady that
Farmer's
sells
cake.
the
Yeah.
yummiest
Oh.
sweets and treats.
Yes,
Like
there-
I have to pace myself
Yeah,
because I could
definitely.
just buy her out when she starts showing up.
Yep.
Because everything she bakes is delicious.
Yep, absolutely.
So the farmers market is going to be at Whitecap NPI.
It
Where
is.
it
It's
is
going
now?
to be at Whitecap,
It's on
right across the
Compass.
street from you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right across the street from you. We're super excited about it. We're bringing back some things. We're excited to announce that we're going to twice a month. We're going to be the second and fourth
Second
Thursday.
and fourth Thursdays.
When are you going to
Got
do
it.
that?
It starts in April. So we went ahead and kept tonight as the 10th anniversary market, and then starting in April, we're going to do it twice a month, and then November and December, we'll do it once a month because of the holidays. We're going
Makes
to
sense.
bring back the kids' corner, have kids from Seashore come and sell their wares.
That
kids
was always
from the
fun. We used to
Bluff
do that,
come
yeah.
and sell their wares. We'll have a little table that we rotate amongst the organization. So if the football players are selling something this month, and the cheerleaders are selling
Okay.
something, and the band, and
Cool.
and so we'll have kind of a little community table there. But
Nice.
we really want to get it back to being the community event that it used to be, where you
Right.
ran into all your neighbors and you bought all the good local things. And
Yep. Pick up another Tula Blue because you
It-
can never have too much of
because
that.
you can never have enough Tula Blue.
Not at all.
I go by.
Not at all.
I walk across the street from the office just about every time. We buy
Nice.
produce or whatever.
Yeah.
Something.
You
good.
can get bread. You can get.
You can get everything.
Oh yeah,
You
little
can
energy
get,
balls,
You can get beef.
pickles,
You can
pickled
get
everything.
microgreens.
Oh, I love the microgreens.
The microgreens
Eggs.
are phenomenal. Eggs,
Soap.
and
I like the
art.
eggs.
Whitecap MPI is clearing some land. They're putting some a new
They
kind
are.
of event space in.
I talked to them
right
this
over
week,
there.
and
Is that
they're
for us, for
they're
the
getting
market?
serious about it. Well, that's where the farmers market is located,
Mm-hmm.
but they're talking about this summer putting in boat docks, and they're working to put in retail.
You can come to
Mixed
the farmers
use.
market
By
via boat.
That would
Yeah,
be
you
super
can.
fun.
And if you're driving, just go over the JFK Causeway, pull onto beautiful Park Road 22, and just take a right on Commodores and the Whitecap
Watch out for the
MPI
kids on
sales
electric bikes.
offices. Yes, exactly.
Oh, don't start
We have
that.
roving biker gangs out
But
here.
they're-
They're adorable.
But they are
adorable.
The
The good kind of gang.
Whitecap NPI has kicked up their marketing. I spoke to them this week, and we're going to have somebody from there on in a couple of weeks. Terrence Johnson's going to come on, but they've gone out to two new marketing, a New York and London-based firm, and one is marketing residential and one is marketing the hotel and the retail and the marina stuff that they're doing.
Wait, they're gonna have a hotel?
They're
I
talking
know
to
that?
hotels. They're talking. It's in the
Ah.
moon this time. They've when that project started, they were looking at a 400 key hotel. They've kind of downsized that now to 150 to 300.
Mm-hmm.
But they're probably what will happen is they'll offer some sort of concierge service for cottages or something around that. The
Gotcha.
hotel industry's changing since they started that process.
Right.
But they're talking to it'll be a boutique hotel basically.
Nice.
But they're also they're still working the marina. But they're talking about having a lot of mixed use and commercial space in there.
Yep.
And they're marketing the residential they've got whole islands that they've created out there.
Yeah.
And one of these firms is marketing those to investment firms and REITs, real estate investment trusts. So they've kind of kicked things up another notch. They're at the point now to where they're finishing phase one. But the infrastructure that they need for that is in. So they're starting to build amenities, and they're kind of
Yep.
they're kicking their marketing up a notch, and they're kind of starting to really throw out a footprint across the country and across the world. Actually,
Nice.
looking for buyers. So they're
I would love to live in there. I walk in there all the time, and it's beautiful.
yeah. Well, we watched them. right out my window there at the office and watched them start clearing one little lot. Next thing
Yeah.
I knew, I looked over there and it looked like they were putting in a football field or something.
Yeah.
So I went and talked to them, and that's what's going on. Is
Little
they-
event space.
It's event space, but it's going to have mixed use and retail when they're done.
Yeah.
It's a perfect spot for it. It's easy access from over the bridge, and there's
Yep.
plenty of space there. There's parking, so
That's always a thing on the
I'm
island.
looking
parking.
forward to seeing it come up out of the ground. I think it's something we need. They're also talking about in the hotel having meeting and conference space, which is something else that we need. So I'm glad to see
With good
moving
soundproofing
forward.
in there so that
Yeah.
it's not so echoey. Everything echoes out
So
here.
like I say, we'll have Terrence on in a couple of weeks, but
They were our big sponsor for Bear for Mardi Gras, so we love Whitecap.
They're a big
Denise,
sponsor for
several
Shimmer
years.
on the Seashore. This year's Whoop It Up.
Nice, nice.
They've really been a good community sponsor.
They
both
have
with
been.
PEBA, with the schools.
Yep.
They have really stepped up and shown that they want to not just take from the community, but give
Be
back.
part of the
Yes,
community.
be a
they put Mardi Gras
community.
raised.
Yes.
It's in the moon. I think it was $122,000, something like that this year.
Phenomenal Mardi Gras.
I don't know that. Yeah, it was an amazing
So
parade this year.
Whip It Up is the annual fundraiser for the Seashore Charter School.
It's Seashore's biggest fundraiser that they do every year. A huge chunk of the budget is
yeah.
raised at
That's
Wolf,
crazy.
and it's
I
April
worked
the
I worked
10th
on the
this
very
year.
first one, the very first couple, way back when Sophie was back at Seashore. That's when it started.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
Back when we had it at Whiskey River.
Yes, the little bitty ones at Whiskey River. I was
Yep.
not around at that time, but
Yep.
but I heard great things, and I'm not with the school anymore, but I absolutely love the school. I help where I can. Coco has taken over.
We
that
had
That's
John
right,
on
Coco.
last
We got to
week.
have her on sometime.
Yeah, we had asked her last week to come on, but
Yeah.
she was on vacation.
We had John
this week
on.
she's doing all the things. John came. I told him he had the perfect.
We
face
got to
for
talk
radio.
about about boats and motors, so
Yeah.
we always like that around here. So if we can't talk about guns or water, we talk about boats and motors.
And water.
So if people want to go to Whip It Up, they just buy tickets through the school's website?
They can buy tickets to the school, Island Foundation on Facebook, or either any of the three schools. You can go to any of the three schools individually on Facebook, and there'll be links there for Whoop and Whoop tickets.
what
There's
else are you
still
working on
sponsorships
these
available. Really, just the farmers market and that, and
Well, that seems
really,
kind of slacking for
I
you.
know,
you don't have
it
five.
really does.
You don't have
It
five
really
projects
does.
going on. You're slacking off.
Yeah, I just finished helping with CCA a little bit.
That's true.
Thank
But
you very
then
much.
again, the farmers market is going to be a twice monthly thing, so that's
It
going to
is.
be a
That's
little
gonna-
bit
that's
more
gonna be
time
a
consuming
good-
than
Do
Yeah.
they,
than
do
it
they
just a
pay
one
you
thing.
in?
I'm pretty busy for a retired person. They pay me in love and appreciation.
They pay you
Aw,
with,
that's
with
my
squash
fave.
and potatoes at the farmers market.
I'll take some
Wine and
squash and
snacks.
potatoes.
2 chickens and a blanket.
So
Well,
we're going to be back in the parking lot tonight. In the
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're not in the new space that's not done yet.
No, not yet, but we will be moving to that. We're excited for that because it will have indoor restroom facilities.
All right. Well,
nice,
speaking
nice,
of
nice,
taking
nice.
a break, we are going to jump over to KRAS News right now, and we will see you back on 1440 KAYS or KRIS News. Sorry, you're on 1440 KEYS Corpus Christi, 98.7 FM and 1440 AM. We will be back shortly. Hold fast.
We have to watch Jacob move things around and press buttons.
Well, I mean, it's
'Cause now we're recording. Now we.
need to get Frank on. We need to
Yeah.
finish up about the
Yeah.
water thing.
The city is securing more water for
Denise,
residents. We're
what
taking a
food
look
trucks do we have
at
there
where the
tonight, do you know?
millions of gallons will come from and how soon the water could
Yeah.
arrive. City Council investing millions into the Evangeline groundwater project.
cool. I do love
We
a food
will
truck.
explain why some leaders are calling it a risky investment. And Robstown residents have concerns about their drinking
you-
water. We're going to explain why
Right.
district leaders say it's still safe
yeah,
to drink.
I know.
Chris 6 starts now.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And so this will be our first market.
Yep. As that
That
board.
is
Yeah.
good.
Moving forward.
This is
Nice.
good.
Good. That'll be
I'll
great.
be able to answer a lot more questions.
That makes sense. I was on the board of the downtown farmers market for a long time.
I had gotten off every board I was on.
I stepped off. I've stepped off every board. I'm still on one, and I need to step off that one
I
too.
was sorry to see that Evelyn farm guy.
break because we're coming back into the second hour.
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
still spring breaky?
This is
Oh, yeah.
This is the second week of spring break, but it's been a slower spring break.
Not in
Not in Port A.
No.
Not, yeah.
We'll talk about that. I tried to go up there last week. I never made it before.
All right.
I couldn't get in.
Had a weird cutout on the second. I heard other music and stuff coming in, but Will got it. We're all good. And we are set here. Okay. Test for segment 1. Set this off.
Cue the grackles. Thank you.
Going for the sweet and low.
And welcome back to Island Moon Live. This is KEYS Corpus Christi, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. We are glad you're joining us. We're also on Island Moon Live on YouTube. If you want to follow along, we've got Dale Rankin, Tyler Thorson, Denise Hawkins. Yeah. I was like, I know your name. Denise Hawkins. Yes. Frank Floyd, Debbie Noble, and my name is Jacob Oggs. We are getting back into this, making all this happen, and want to say if you're listening, you've made it through most of spring break with us, and it's
last
been
week was a big weekend, I think.
That's what they say. But
Yeah.
That was the
pretty busy
crossover
yesterday.
weekend between the two weeks. The two.
just when you thought people couldn't be any dumber. We've
Well,
had a
so
few bad accidents.
I wanted to
You
get
did.
photographs for the moon and for the Facebook page. So Saturday afternoon, in my wisdom, about 2 o'clock, I headed north. And I got to the number 16 fire station on 361, and the traffic into Port Aransas was stopped.
Yeah.
So I limped my way down the access road, and I made it to the shoulder, and I made it to access road. I think it's 3, the southernmost one in Corpus Christi. Turned up the beach at about the 70-something marker, and about at the 35 or so, traffic stopped. And so the place was packed, and it was a rowdy crowd, I'm telling you. I'd say it was one firecracker away from a riot. And so Jan got out, my wife got out to shoot. These kids had trucks backed into a circle.
Yeah.
And they've always done that in the past years.
Mhm.
But now they know that when law enforcement shows up, they break down and they go to another location. So to get away from the law dogs. So Jan was taking pictures when they broke down their circle, and she got smacked into by a backing up golf cart.
Oh, no.
And then later that day, things got out. We tried to go into Port Aransas, and it's basically you can't get in. The streets are backed up, the highway's backed up, the beach is backed up, and nothing is moving. So we never
Sounds
made it.
really fun.
We never made it to Port Aransas, and
Yeah.
and it was and later that night, of course, you had gunfire break out.
Yep.
You had 5 people shot, and you had
They're all in the hospital,
And
right?
some perfectly sober, I'm sure, driver managed to run over the temporary stoplight out on 361.
Yeah.
Took that out.
There were several car
And
accidents
then
too, right?
you had a kid who was twerking on top of a Jeep that rear-ended a Tesla.
Yep.
And he ended up in the hospital.
Yep.
And the Tesla ended up smashed, and I don't know where everybody else went. Then I got a call from a friend of mine downtown. He said that there's women in bikinis running around all around downtown because they let them out of the jail and they had no way to get back to the island. And I told him, we'll get a picture. And he goes, yeah, I don't know. So
Well,
all in all, so then on Sunday, later Saturday and then on Sunday, I drove the beach here on the Padre end, and it's a completely different crowd.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like you're at a different event.
Yep.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But,
But it's
you
like
know,
family friendly.
It doesn't
It's like-
have that edginess
No.
to it that you're seeing in Port Aransas. And I
Yeah.
did some research after I saw that, and Fort Lauderdale and Miami have both had this problem, and where things just got out of hand. And they've dealt with it in different ways, but some in common ways. One of the things they did, they would ban overnight stay. You couldn't
sleep
stay
on
on
the
the beach. They also, in some cases, banned alcohol through the whole weekend. They also went to, and this is going to not go over well, I'm sure, they went to $100 a day beach passes during spring break.
Wow.
Per vehicle?
I
I
guess
guess,
so.
yeah.
Wow.
But and it moves them to another place.
Yeah.
They go back
Yeah.
to Panama
Yeah,
City
yeah,
where
yeah.
they came from.
I don't know. It's been a few years, but I know Crystal Beach was dealing with a lot of that back in the day because they were, it was all drivable, easily accessible, and for people who don't know, Gary of Crystal Beach is up by Rollover Pass and kind of Gilcrest area of
Houston.
north of Houston, up the coast towards the Sabine, and the issue there was it was remote enough that at that time the community police were only a few people, so
Right.
they were outnumbered.
Right.
So they had to bring in hired guns every weekend.
Well,
to
Port Aransas
keep
brings
the
them in.
peace. Yeah, they
but
do.
If you guys remember, you guys probably attended some of these. They used to have a pre-spring break law enforcement briefing, press briefing. They would
Yeah.
do it usually out at Port Royal.
yeah.
You get all the law enforcement agencies in the same room, and they would talk to each other.
Mhm.
They don't. If they do that now, they don't invite the public. I don't know if they do or not. What I saw was overlapping police forces. I saw Port Aransas police. I saw unidentified little green men in camouflage. I don't know where they were from. And I saw some state police. They tend to wear the black uniforms. But I'm telling you, that crowd was right there. One thing goes wrong, you're going to have a bad problem. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's going to have to be addressed, not on the Corpus end. from
Yes,
what I saw.
I've been very happy. And of course, we had Officer Pena, Lieutenant Pena, and Chief Markle on last week talking about their preparations and what they're doing. And
Yeah.
I think CCPD has been handling spring break very well. North and South Packery are both very family-friendly beaches. I would have no problem taking my family, bringing the kids out there, and and that's been great. I have no problem with that. I understand. Okay, there's college kids coming in from all over the place.
I didn't see a college crowd. These weren't frat boys.
Yeah, what was
In
it?
Port
High
Aran-
schoolers
in
or
Port
what?
Aransas looked like
They're
high schoolers.
families, yeah.
In Port Aransas,
For us,
it looked
yeah,
like
but up there.
16
Yeah,
to
for us.
21, old enough to drive, not old enough to drink, which didn't stop them.
Yeah.
And if you recall, we've had this same problem. We talked about this last week with the chief. We've had this problem on the Padre end in the past. They dealt with it in different ways. Port Aransas bans drinking after sundown,
Yeah.
which sends them south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After sundown.
Yeah.
And so we've had that problem to deal with, but over time, you just send a message that that sort of behavior is not really welcomed, and they go elsewhere.
So if you're listening to us out on the radio or you're watching on Island Moon Live on YouTube, don't tell the kids about the bowl.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that struck me is we're in the process of building a new access road, beach access road, and I went into the area just north of where that road is going to be. There was hardly anybody on the beach. In the middle of Saturday afternoon on spring break, there was
Because it's farther to get to.
hardly anybody there.
Is it farther to get to?
Yeah, until you get up north a little ways, and then
That was
all
our
of a
secret.
sudden-
Yeah,
The
but now they're
convenience
going to
store
have that.
with the beer is farther away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm looking at the people on the beach, and I'm thinking, well, they're probably sleeping in their vehicles. They're buying a 12-pack at Stripes and a couple of hot dogs, and that's about it.
They're good for how?
Yeah, they
what
put-
would you say yesterday? They're good for about $3-4 in sales tax. And
Yeah.
then that's it.
Yeah.
I did see
Yeah.
some people at Michael J. Ellis Beach parking
Yeah.
lot that
Yeah.
were camped out right next to the handicap stuff because they had all kinds of Cheetos and stuff. And one guy was asleep when I was over there last Thursday.
That's okay, right?
Well, I mean, not really, but
Probably not legal. But
You don't want
No,
Cheetos
illegal.
where
You
there's
can't spend the
seagulls.
night there, but you can nap
but
during
if
the
you
day.
Well,
start,
yeah, I guess.
you start feeding those Cheetos to the seagulls, you're going to draw gunfire.
Well, here's
It's a bad thing.
Well, that's one of the local moves. I always keep an old stale bag of chips in the side of the truck
To feed the
And if
tourists?
someone's a goon, if someone's not behaving properly out on the beach, you just go walk over and
Yeah.
throw a fistful of busted
Oh,
old
and then-
chips
and
into
here
their
come the-
sunroof.
here come the seagulls,
Yeah,
yeah.
let the seagulls do the work for you.
So we got this weekend where I don't see the cars coming in like
No,
I did
it's-
this time
the
last
beach
week.
looks the
So I
bridge
think
looks
we're
clear right now.
probably over the hump in terms of the crowds.
Yeah,
But,
well, and something we talked about yesterday, you found the JFK Causeway numbers. Last Saturday, 50,571, and then on Sunday, 43,410 vehicles. That's just over the JFK Causeway.
Yeah.
And we did the math. If you break that down to just a 12-hour period, it's something like 4,100 and change per
Typically,
hour.
we have about through the year we have about 30,000 cars a day come over the causeway.
Okay.
But obviously, we have winter days when it's probably 10,000.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that means in the summer days we probably have closer to 70,000.
The Port Aransas on Saturday, the 14th, Port A ferry system took over 9,000, almost 9,150 vehicles.
Ooh, that's a lot.
What was I wonder what the max wait time for the ferry was.
I don't know.
Probably
I think
2 or 3 hours.
Wow.
Greg would know this if he was still there. I think it's 600 cars an hour is the maximum traffic
Okay.
that can go across the ferry system. And unless you put more ferry landings in, if you get bigger ferries, it just takes longer to load them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It seems like it would
Right.
speed
That
things
seems
up,
that
but it
seems like
doesn't.
the obvious thing would be like bigger ferry.
Yeah, no, it doesn't, because it takes longer to load.
Yeah, there is a
That's a really
terminal
good point.
velocity there. Yeah.
So this weekend, if we had, what would you say, 30,000 what was it, 50,000 last week? So maybe 40,000 this week. We'll still have a traffic jam.
Man, remember
Yeah.
when we didn't have those turn lanes going to Port A?
Yes.
Remember that? Because I came home the other day and I was like, both lanes were full, and I just like zipped right on by.
They've been pretty good about running those lights. In fact, even
Yeah.
in town, that I noticed, I go to work back way on Holly, and they time them a lot longer to go to
Yeah.
SPID on Airline.
Yeah.
You'll be like, this is a long light,
What-
long light.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
they keep them long.
There's all kinds of algorithms and things that they use to I guess, for traffic timing. And Chief Marco was saying they can handle that either on site or downtown.
Oh, nice.
Well,
To
one
get
of the
it,
things
yeah.
the chief said last week that jumped out to me was the use of drones out on the beach.
Oh.
And when I got to Port Aransas, I only saw a helicopter. I didn't see any drones up. So
Well,
I don't know if they don't
they were
have them or they
stealthy.
don't use them.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Stealth drones.
Using the helicopter, I guess, would be loud enough to,
Yeah,
just,
but
just
if-
blow
but
some
if
dirt
you're-
on them, right?
but if
We
you're
can
an
back
underage-
MPI and
Put some
TC
sand
up-
in their sandwich.
Was it Jack's Red Line?
TC
or-
up there?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're an underage drinker on the beach and you see a helicopter, leave.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
somewhere else.
Exactly.
Nothing good is going to
You're-
happen.
So we're not solving any of the problem, though. We're just moving it to
It's a
somewhere
whack-a-mole.
else. It's a whack-a-mole.
Yeah, they whack it
Exactly.
up there and it moves down here.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed, little piece of practical advice, you're
Yes.
coming back from Port Aransas, get off at Newport Pass and go down the beach, and then you can jump in the turn lane and come right on in. Because while everybody's waiting in the
And
right-hand
sitting
lane,
there
save you
blocked
about
up,
20
yeah.
minutes.
Why did you say that?
Or you can just, or you can just not go there. That's what I did. I just
I
didn't
was
go there
trying to
this
get,
week.
I was trying to get to Beach Lodge so I could get upstairs and get that crowd
Oh, there
shine
you go.
down the beach.
Yeah.
I never got anywhere near Beach Lodge. I didn't even make it to the bollards on the beach. I made it
Yeah.
to about the 30, and that was it.
Well, speaking of events, we've got Frank Floyd with us here. We're going to talk about the boat show and market days coming up
yes.
this weekend. As soon as we get back from the break, everybody hold fast.
I'm going to try it again this weekend.
All right.
That's a nice one. It's miserable because you can't. For one thing, it's hard to
pretty.
get on. I got stuck in traffic there when I had that 6-car red.
Are you leaving?
And I sat there for 45 minutes.
Okay. We have a turtle release on Sunday too. We can mention.
That's at south of Tony Amos Beach, right?
No, I'm talking about the Texas Sea Life Center one.
Where is it?
It's right off of the Windward lot. Where the Windward
Did they
parking lot
already
right
have
there.
the one? Maybe they did.
This one is on Sunday at
good.
11. Sea Life Center, right over there by the Wyndham.
Are we allowed to invite the public to those?
Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
but this one is a public one.
one's
They're
clear.
gonna be
Yeah.
there selling merch and collecting donations and stuff. This
And
is a
again,
public
these
one.
aren't hatchlings. These are
No, they're not. This is a regular.
injured elderly
I
turtles.
have the boat show and market days on my list too. You'll be happy to know.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Okay. We're ready.
There's a market at Sandbox on Saturday also.
We are
They need to buy an ad
ready.
for that.
We're ready to rock if we're
You
ready
what?
to roll.
They should buy an ad for that.
It's not a Sandbox thing. It's like some people, and they move the market around. It just happens to be a Sandbox tomorrow this weekend.
All right, let's see here. And we are back. Welcome back to Island Moon Live from the beautiful Waterline Studios on a gorgeous Island Moon Thursday. Tyler Thorson, Dale Rankin, Denise Hawkins, Frank Floyd, Debbie Noble, and my name is Jacob Boggs. There's even a Stevie Start sighting over here. We're having a great day talking about kind of catching up on the last of the stuff from spring break. And now we're getting to an event coming up this weekend out at the end of Whitecap Drive. If you pull over the beautiful JFK Causeway, drive down to Whitecap Boulevard, take a right and drive all the way to the end, you will find the boat show and market days. This is the third annual, isn't that right, Frank?
Yes, it is.
Outstanding. And Wind and Wave Water Sports will be there.
We just happened to be there with a bunch of kayaks, and maybe an SUP or two.
Mm-hmm.
And on the water demos, And we got a lot of fun toys. They're great canal toys if you live out here on the island.
I've seen a huge rise in kayak, SUP, and single-person vessel fishing like recently. I feel like the kayak technology's just gotten crazy.
They've got autopilot motors where you just sit in the seat with a remote control.
Yeah.
And if you want to stop and have a sandwich in the middle of the canal in front of everybody, you just hit spot lock and you just hold you right there.
So you don't have to worry about drifting the flat. You get into some redfish, you just hit spot lock on your kayak, and it holds you there.
And you're there.
What happened to the days when we used to use paddles? Are they gone?
You know, that's a good question. I had
Paddling is
Dan
not
Watkins
legal
in the other day asking about that.
That's old technology.
I still have some of those behind my house on my dock.
Wait,
But
so
it's
can
windy
you still
here.
paddle? Oh, that's true. It is
You
windy.
can paddle. I mean, we did
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
But it is windy here, and people have gotten, and I'll include myself in this sometimes, we've
Lazy.
gotten a little lazier or realizing that there may be an easier way.
Right.
So they came out with pedal drives several years back. And those kind of, especially in areas like this where the wind howls all the time,
Those go fast.
those took
They do.
over.
Mm-hmm.
And
Really?
then a few years ago, the guys that have to have everything on their boat decided to start putting motors on them. And so now people are outfitting motors on most of their kayaks. One of
Wow.
the small problem with that is a lot of people put a motor that's too big for the kayak.
Oh, yeah.
Surely
And
you jest.
the kayak's not
No
going to
one
last
would
real
do
long
that.
like that.
What?
The ones we have are built with a motor that fits them, electronic trolling
So
motor.
if you're going down the canal and the only thing in the water is your propeller, your motor is probably too big.
Yeah.
that is very true.
General rule.
I say if you can pull a skier behind your kayak, your motor's too big.
Probably going a little too.
Unless maybe it's a squirrel on a little ski. Otherwise, it's not.
Are they
designed for
electric
that.
motors?
They're electric motors.
I've ridden in one of them. It's pretty cool. You pull the yoke down and off
Yeah.
you go.
And then they have the e-pedal now, which is like an e-bike.
Okay.
So it's a pedal drive. You can just pedal it. You can pedal it with assistance. So you get 3 or 4 times the efficiency out of each pedal.
cool.
Right.
And they're already efficient.
Yeah.
And then if you say, I don't want to pedal anymore, you just push another button and it takes over and you got a motor.
Wow.
Well, I like
Wow,
the,
you got options.
I like the motor upwind and then make my way home drifting down.
There you go.
That is the smart way to do it here in South Texas, in Corpus.
You got a
especially.
jacket, you just hold your arms out and make a little sail and off you go.
Yeah, I knew a guy that would fish up in Galveston would do that, but he would use a little parafoil kite that he would have. He'd get out, and then when he was ready to, once he was done fishing wherever, he would always end up upwind, and then he would launch that parafoil kite, and that would tow his kayak across.
We would go on 361 back in the day when I first met Frank. We had the old school paddles, and you had inexpensive paddles that were wide plastic.
Those
And-
Power Flex.
Right? Yeah, we would paddle into that wind. I mean, you're only on one side. You're digging one side, going from 361 to Brown and Root Flat, and on the back, literally, I would sail back with the paddle up in the air. You had that much wind again.
Wow.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
It worked out well.
Those were real powerful paddles.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did, because it was like, but you were grinding that one side the whole way, and then thank
You
God,
end
I
up
got
looking like a fiddler crab.
Yeah, no, it worked really well. But then we found out the Hobies and the pedal drive systems.
Yeah, the
worked
pedal
so
drives really took over. We're a Old Town dealer, Old Town and Ocean Kayak, and their pedal drive system seems to be the best warranty in the industry and the least maintenance and most durable. And I happen to be a very lazy individual, so I don't like dealing with problems. So
Nobody does.
when I picked what pedal drives and motors I was going to get, I
Based it on that.
based it on that,
Well,
and
I
I'm
can-
really happy with my choice.
I can tell you from experience, if you're going to place a wager on a kayak race, put your money on the pedal drive.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the guy with the paddle is going to be sucking wind by the time when he's not going to keep up with the pedal drive. It took me 2 races to learn that.
You could do it, but Professor Salt could keep up with you in one of those little tiny boats that he has. But yeah, for the most part, I was surprised. I had a 15-foot, really fast Bimini kayak, and I got a loaner one time of a Hobie Outback, and it's a fat-looking boat. Doesn't look, it's not long and slender. Looked like it'd be
Yeah.
fast, and it would go faster than me paddling as fast as I could in that Bimini. And I was like, wow, this is a game changer because you're using your feet and you have both hands to sit there and fish.
Yeah.
All you do is just turn it with your hand with the rudder, and you're like, wow, now I can. You're not going like this behind you all the time because you can fish and drift a certain way. It's
Get
really
a big
cool.
hat, hold it up in the wind.
Well, you can do that too.
So, Frank, have you surfed the new Bob Hall Pier?
Yes, I have.
And what's the review?
Well, it's coming together.
Did you go out between the pilings?
Directly underneath them. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's the safest place now with, for the...
There's a lot of people on the pier with lines in the water.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there. I saw that yesterday.
And
I
if
was
you go
there
out
yesterday.
directly under the pier, that's definitely the safest place to go out.
Is right in that wave out, that current out the same as the old pier?
We have yet to see how much that's going to happen because the pilings are farther apart. There more distance between the pilings.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't create quite as fast a rip, I don't think. But it's very noticeable. And
so it's still the easiest way to go
It's
out.
still the easiest way to go out. And then we surfed, me and Nathan, my son, surfed on the south side a couple of weeks ago. And it was funny. It didn't look that good, but we walked up on the pier because it was right after opening a day or two later.
Right.
And there's a little wave out there that he's looking at going, that's no good. And I'm looking at it going, I think it's a little better than it looks. So I paddled out, and he went ahead and paddled out. And there was a nice little peak. It wasn't consistent enough for a big crowd, so the two-man crowd was just perfect.
Yeah.
So the sandbar hasn't formed yet.
It's on its way. It's starting to form, and sometimes the best wave is not directly by the pier. It affects the bars down the beach, 1 or 2 football fields down sometimes.
Really?
So we had a real good inside sandbar halfway between the pier and the ranger station.
Okay.
I call it the ranger
The-
station. I guess there's no rangers in there anymore, but the
re-
park office.
The real test. The real test is going to be a little further into spring if we get any tropical depressions or something that pushes in a groundswell instead of a wind swell. We'll get a little clearer kind of definition on where the bars are and how it's setting up. But the sand's already moving in place. That's
The sand's
you can
moving
see
in
it.
place, and if you notice, the house, the pier house part of it is on sand more now than it was in the last few years.
Right.
And when you put a structure out in the water like that, it builds sand out. So it makes sense.
That's what we said was going to happen because
And-
we couldn't get insurance before because all the sand was gone because the
Right.
building was gone.
Yeah, well,
Right,
that, and
it's
the
gonna
sand.
come
And
back.
it's
gonna
coming
come
back, and so now you're going to have most of the time I think you'll have dry sand underneath
Do
there.
we get to change the insurance once the sand comes
I don't
back?
think they want to do that because
That-
it was just
yeah.
too much.
So the bar builds on the north side of the pier with a southeasterly wind?
It builds on both sides, but you usually will surf on the north side with a southeast wind.
Right.
And then if there's a northeast wind, you'll surf on the south side. If there's no wind or an east, then sometimes both sides can be working and the insides can be. So there can be 4 locations working.
What's the
But-
difference between surfing the pier and the jetties?
The pier is way more powerful.
Really?
It's more of a high performance, shortboard style wave. If you ever watch any pro surfing or anything, you can go to the pier on a decent day and see that kind of stuff going on, close to that stuff.
It's dumpier.
It's dumpier.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means it raises up and flashes down faster. Instead of it, instead of the face of the wave being a little more like panned down, where a lot more of a longboard wave, and it's just a little more mellow. Once it hits that inside bar, usually that inside bar is the one that has that real good action on it.
Yeah, real
And that's the
thumpy.
fun. Yeah.
And it'll be, you're always seeing pipeline and the tubes and the barrels. Bob Hall is fairly
I've
well
seen-
known for getting pretty good barrels in the past.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures. We have pictures that we run in the moon of people. They're
Yeah.
covered up down there.
Yeah, it's Packery will do that once in a while, but it's very rare. The sand at Packery is more of a gentle slope. I don't know if the
Yeah.
bulldozers on the beach have a lot to do with that or not, but
Yeah.
it's just a slope. It doesn't have deep guts.
So there's
and
nothing to
shallow
wave to
sandbars.
break the wave.
So it's just kind of a rolling crumble. Down the beach, we have more sandbar with a deeper gut, and then a sandbar and a deeper
Okay.
gut. So the wave reforms and comes in at full power and hits the sandbar.
Okay.
And so it stands up higher and steeper.
Okay.
And there's all that knowledge coming at you from Frank Floyd of Wind and Wave right there at the bluff in I guess your address is on SPID, right?
Laguna
Or is it
Shores
on
and
Laguna
SPID.
Shores?
Laguna Shores and SPID, but the
Yeah.
address is on SPID.
Yeah, awesome. We've got a table full of outstanding people. We're going to get to some commercials, and we'll be right back. Hold fast.
Have you never gone out and taken pictures of him surfing?
I have,
He is a
but it's
thing.
been a long time.
He is a thing to watch surfing. It is amazing. It is inspiring.
Well, there used to be a guy that would go
I'm
out.
also a thing to watch surfing, but it's more for comedic value because I stand up and I fall down.
Well, you're just getting started,
I'm
right?
just getting started.
Well, there used to be a guy would go out there with a parabolic mic and get sound. And I would stand next to him and record. You could hear people talking and the waves breaking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you
get
would
up-
not want
get
to hear
up-
what I have to say.
Well, it was cool because you could hear them. You could hear what was going on, and you could hear the waves coming in. He had a
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
with a parabolic mic, and set up right up on the outside of
You can go pull up to North Pack with 60 of your closest friends, and yeah, just dodge the road humps. Okay, what are we getting to? What's up next?
I want to talk about a surf pier.
Okay.
Ooh.
You're just
And then
inventing
we'll
a new
talk
thing.
about you learning to surf.
Oh, well, I don't
Get the
know.
Yeti out there.
Yeti don't surf.
Charlie don't surf. Yeti does.
Yeah.
Yeti body surf.
I like that one.
Yeti surfs. Have you seen my son?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lost his beard. I go, who the hell is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Nathan. It's like,
That's
God, I
funny.
didn't recognize him without.
All right.
He just got his birthday was on Sunday. This thing came to the shop in the mail, and it was just an ice cube tray of Sasquatch.
Nice.
6 Sasquatch
ice cubes.
and
yeah.
he no idea who it came from. And we had one suspect, and it actually wasn't him. It ended up being my brother, but he got the idea from the other suspect.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's funny.
I need to get
That's
some
a great.
of those.
That's a great present.
All right. 11 minutes, 30 seconds. You ready to get this fired up? And we are back. Welcome to Island Moon Live on a beautiful Island Moon Thursday. My name is Jacob Oggs, Debbie Noble, Frank Floyd, Denise Hawkins, Dale Rankin, and Tyler Thorson. We've got the whole crew here. We're talking fishing, we're talking surfing, we're done with Mardi Gras. We've moved on past spring break.
We still have to give away the money for Mardi Gras. That's all that's left.
We solved the water desal issue.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
And-
Wait,
and
did
so
we
it-
did we tell everybody when Bear for Mardi Gras is next year so they can put on their calendars now?
We don't know.
Tell me it's not
Yes,
on February
we do.
28th.
It's February 20th.
Okay, well,
February
you'll miss us.
20th, 2027.
So that's inside.
11 o'clock, rain or
That's
shine,
before
on the
Lent.
beach.
And I heard from Dan Harrington that
Yep.
the total this year raised for Barefoot Mardi Gras before expenses was $114,000.
Nice.
How about
Before
on the beach?
expenses.
Congratulations to them, and thank you again
Awesome.
to all the volunteers and people that put that on.
And the city and the county.
Exactly. And just so you know, Boat Show and Market Days is coming up this weekend.
It's a yacht club. Padre
Yacht
Island,
Club.
not downtown. Padre Island Yacht Club.
Padre
Yes.
Island Yacht Club, Indoor White Cap.
Right. So
And
is
it's
that
gonna be
Friday, Saturday,
big.
Sunday, or just Saturday, Sunday?
Saturday and
Saturday
Sunday.
and Saturday
It
and
starts
Sunday.
at 10. In the last couple of years, they've actually had shuttles shuttling you if White Cap starts getting parked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'll
It's a
have
great event. They
shuttles come down
started
and
it
get
small and then it just took
Yeah.
off.
I can walk
Yeah.
from my
And
house.
it's a great this time of year. The weather is always good, and it's a really fun thing to do.
Now you get
and it's next to the dog park. So you can take
Oh,
your
you
dog.
take your
go
dog
to
for a
the
walk
dog
too.
park.
Now you've got some food trucks there, so people can get something to eat.
There's 2 or 3 food trucks. There's boat dealers. There's a bunch of vendors.
Yep,
tents,
vendors selling all kinds of.
They'll have craft beer, sporting gear, arts and crafts, and food, and all kinds of stuff.
And
Easy
stand
boss
up and sit on top
Yes.
of kayaks and
Oh, yeah.
What are the folks? What's selling best on the island over here?
It's been pedal drives for the most part. There is one new one that I would think would be a good island party
Has a wet
kayak.
bar?
Oh, not quite, but it's got a little Minn Kota motor, 4 built-in Bluetooth speakers, a sound system, and cockpit lighting, LED cockpit
that's
The
lighting.
last thing I want to do when I'm out kayaking is play Call of Duty.
It's
You know what I mean?
rocking out, yeah.
That's for people who don't know. That's the game where you sit on your couch and defend the country.
Well, that sounds like a
Sounds like
floating
everybody
turtle
on
box.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking not so much the fishing as going. If your neighbor's having a party, then you go down in that, and they'll think it's cool and invite you up.
Right.
That could be.
Well, the
That'll
rule on the island is if you heard about a party, that you're automatically invited.
Invite. If you
Yeah.
if you
Or
heard
if
about
you
it.
heard the party.
All right, you
Or if
see
you
it.
heard the
yeah,
party.
if it's across the canal and they won't stop, then you just go join in.
That's exactly
But while
it.
we got you here, I want to touch on a subject that's near and dear to the hearts of Oggs and I. Our pet project is a surf pier. So,
What's the difference between a surf pier and a fishing pier?
you don't walk on the surf pier, you surf around it.
If you remember the old sticks, the J.P. Luby
Yeah.
pier, that is a surf pier.
It's just pilings.
Just pilings.
So
And,
if you were going to locate a surf pier here, where would you put it? And what would it look like?
Well, for my personal desires not to have it get too crowded, or for where it would really get used the most?
I think it used the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably between Fish Pass and the Packery Channel.
South of Fish Pass.
Around
South of Fish,
Newport.
but around Newport,
Yeah.
and as close to the middle of that as possible, because you don't want to be too close to either of the others where they start affecting each other, and it could be good, could be bad. And
how would
and
you-
you're trying to spread people out.
What would it look like, and how would it be different than surfing the jetties or the pier?
Ideally, I mean, the way Bob Hall got so good for so many years, put the pilings out in exact the same pattern as Bob Hall.
Really?
And
As the
you
old
know,
Bob Holler
you can't put a deck on it,
Right.
but string it, put a frame on it, because the last one started falling apart with this. There was no support for the pilings.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, one thing to help you get funding for it, if you need, is it was the best pelican home we had out here. Every piling had a brown pelican on it.
Well, you can also put weather and climate monitoring, and
Yeah.
you get some
Th-
funding that
Yeah,
way.
there's a lot of reasons that you can do that. We definitely want that. But they're supposed to build the one back on Bob Hall too.
Well, Newport Pass is owned by the county. That area there, I think it's 20 acres is usable.
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
like that. And I talked to Connie Scott, the county judge, about a month ago. She said that there's a private party interested and a public party interested. But in either case, if that's where you want to put a surf pier, that would be the time to do it. You got a new owner coming in. Go talk to them and build that into the design. I look back at the old pictures from the island. When we had a surf pier, there was a whole onshore structure that built up around there.
Where was it?
I think it was near south
It was
of Packery, wasn't it?
just south of Packery Channel.
Before
Okay.
Packery was
Before
built.
Packery was
When
And
they
then-
built Packery, the surf pier was still there.
Yeah.
And we were kind of hoping they'd leave the
leave it,
pilings
yeah.
there.
Yeah, and
But they said that part of the contract was to pull
Right.
the pilings up. So
Ah.
all the pelicans
So
went
they-
homeless. And
I got in the middle of that because the reason it was removing it was in the contract. is they thought it would be in the way of the barges building the jetties. So we talked to the contractor. They're finished building the jetties, and the pier's still there. So we
Yeah.
said, well, obviously,
Right, it wasn't in a way.
we
if
don't
it's
get
still
paid
there.
until we take it out, and so
Yeah.
that's what happened.
That's too bad.
That's
Yeah.
what we wanted to
Yeah.
have Callan Marine. We wanted them to leave that sunk barge on the corner there
Yeah.
because it was such a great structure.
Yeah.
What I think a surf pier seems to me like a good bang for the buck, right?
Well, and if you do it correctly, as far as finding the dollars for it, it could be a little cheaper on the county's dime because that area is county, and it would probably be a county project. The whole thing would be if it's a surf and research pier, right? So we put tidal monitoring. We get Dr. Philippe Tussaud, and I'm throwing him out, but I'm sure there's other people.
Right.
We can
Yeah.
find some of our other friends at the HRI that could use that to do studies. We can get more kind of everything from tidal monitoring to
Yeah.
you can set up systems for tracking sharks or pinging as people are doing research for anything from
Do
red
turtle
drum
releases.
to trouts to turtles. All that there is a need for it, and like Frank mentioned earlier, it becomes a pelican roost for
It also becomes a focal point for surfers all over the Midwest. Where else are they going to go?
Well, and it takes pressure off of people surfing at Bob Hall and the 800 people surfing at Packery, And it I remember back in the days, I would go dive J.P. Luby when it was flat and everything was gorgeous. And when we have those good visibility days, and it was like Caribbean water. It was beautiful. And then I remember some days where it was just raging. We had, like 4 or 5 foot rollers coming through, and it was just beautiful.
We talked about that with when I was on the Nueces County Coastal Parks Board years ago. First started over there, we thought about doing that, and the cost then
Yeah.
was like $40,000 to $50,000 to get the pilings in there.
That's so little.
That would, yes, and if that the study to do a pier would probably cost that.
It cost more than
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Well, the good news for us is we got guys like Frank we don't need a study. We just need to listen to them.
Yeah.
No, you have to have a study because you have to make
Can't
sure it
do it.
doesn't.
You can't get permits in jail.
Yeah, it
without
doesn't
that.
ruin the turtle
So that would
habitat.
be that would be something different. The construction would have to take place outside of green turtle nesting season, which is one of the reasons why Bob Hall was delayed because they had to go through
Yeah.
and do all that. Yeah, Brent Chesney can tell you all about
So
sea turtle and you know you
and
got to
the
do
other one about the stingrays.
spotted stingrays and
Stingrays.
manatee studies have to be done.
Yep.
But the without it being connected, you don't have to worry about the any kind of detriment to seagrass.
Seagrass, yeah.
Exactly, because if you walk out here on a bunch of these piers, or you go down to someone's cabin, you notice there's considerable space between the plats. You know, whether they're wood or whatever they use.
Yeah.
And you have to do that because the GLO mandates that you have enough light to get through to not kill seagrass.
One of the
Okay.
And if you ever go to
one
the
of the few times in Texas you can grow grass and not get put in jail.
Yes, very true.
Hey,
Yeah,
look on the bright side, right?
If you know July and August driving down Laguna Shores, we've got plenty of seagrass.
Yeah, you can smell it.
It's a little briny.
Now, we're talking about turtle
Different
releases. We have one this weekend, right?
I do believe the Texas Sea Life Center
Free the
has
turtles.
one. Free the turtles. Save the sea life. They have a turtle release. These are not the little tiny baby ones we're saying were the eggs. These are ones. That
And where
have
and when
been-
is the turtle release?
It's at 11 o'clock on Sunday, and it's over by the Wyndham Hotel and over by that parking lot. Once you get over that area, you'll find them.
Okay.
And
It's nice. They're huge.
They're going to be selling some merch there, so go get some T-shirts and toys.
Put
and,
numbers on the turtles and let them race out.
Yeah, you can bet money. I'm sure the Poly Markets would love that.
Yeah.
They bet money on that too. They do tag them though, I think. So they get information.
These are turtles
from them.
that have been rehabbed. They
Yes,
had issues.
these are
and-
and
We
I don't
didn't
know
real-
how many there are.
We didn't really have a coal stun event this year.
Not so
No,
bad.
they did. No, they had quite a few.
little
The
bit.
500, I think.
the aquarium let go one day. Jen and I were out there, like 300 or so.
Yeah.
And the Sea Life Center lets them go too. So they had some, not as many as some in the last couple of years, but they had a number of. I wonder how many of those cold stun turtles are the same ones that come back every year. They're like, what the heck? I get to
Slow
go
learners.
stay in a little resort,
Yeah.
or smart. Like I
culling
go
the
stay in this
turtle
little
herd.
resort for the cold months, and then they take care of me, and then it's like a spa. It's
Like
a
going to
spa
jail, you
treatment.
get 3 hots in a cot for a little while.
Yeah.
You go to
Little
turtle
tur-
jail
it's
once a year.
Or a turtle spa. I don't know. They get treated pretty nicely.
So we
then
have
they get to go back out.
To recap, we have the turtle release. We have the market days
Yep.
at the yacht club
We have
on
the
Saturday and
Sunday.
Sunday,
Saturday and Sunday.
and we
Yeah.
have the farmers market.
There's a
That's tonight.
small market that
Tonight,
people.
4 to 7.
It's called Be Local, and they have local vendors. And that I think this particular month is at the Sandbox on Saturday.
Be
10
local.
to 10
we
to
like
3.
to be local.
We like to be local, so that's
we
a good
like
thing.
bees, so
Yeah.
it works out.
There you go.
So it's
Lots of fun
an
things to do.
eventful weekend. We've kind of hit the sweet spot of the island season.
Yeah.
This is the time
Yeah.
of year you invite your relatives down that you actually like.
Well, and we're sitting here down at the Waterline Studio. We've got blue water in the Upper Laguna.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely
We've
gorgeous.
seen so many boats go by today. It's way more than usual.
Perfect. And the forecast looks great for the weekend, so it's none of this southeast wind at 35 miles an
Yeah.
hour where we
Yeah.
sail back with our paddles on our kayaks.
Although we need rain. We need it to rain.
Well,
When is
yeah.
it going to rain?
Where should the fishermen go, Tyler?
They should go to Bob Hall Pier if you want to catch a lot of fish. There's Jack Crevalle running out there, Spanish mackerel, sheep's head out the wazoo.
Sheep's head, yeah.
The tides are going to be high early, so fish later. You can go down the beach and get the Jack Crevalle. Just look for screaming mullet coming out of the water. That's generally a sign of jacks. Pompano are still available, not as much as they were before, but and of course sharks will be around.
Tis the season.
It
Tis
is.
the
I saw
season.
someone catch
Time
a
to
shark
get out.
yesterday too.
Lots of big black drum in Laguna too.
There were a lot of people fishing on the pier yesterday, but it didn't look overly crowded. Like didn't look like there was too many. Just a lot of people using it.
Got a lot
Enjoying
more.
it.
A lot more island info and ideas, events, everything coming at you. Hold fast. We'll be right back.
I think we could get a surf pier done if we organize it.
That's yeah. I don't,
depends
no
on
one's
who's
no one's
buying
going to
it.
be against it.
Well, when we got that one done, I put on the Sun Deck Classic and the Offshore Pro Am. We got 50,000 people on the beach.
Really?
In a pro surf contest.
Oh, that's awesome.
Back in
Yeah, yeah.
'84 and '85.
Nice.
And brought people in from all over the place. And there was some
Yeah.
nasty weather on one of those weekends, and it was still.
But then they all got to have places.
It'll draw
to-
people.
Yeah,
and
and
it'll
we
you got to
love-
have a fire permit.
we love
spread
heads
the
and
crowds
beds.
out.
We
I
love
didn't have
heads
to have
and
any permits for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so then you could spread them out between all three places.
CP&L put a power box on the beach.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I had the key to that for 3 years. It never.
They never came
Nobody
out.
got
Never got a
electrocuted?
bill.
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
awesome.
then a hurricane surge one day took it out.
Kind of like the propane
Oh my
tank
gosh,
over
that's
Bob
crazy.
Hall.
No. There was a drop, a pole with a drop.
Is that what
in a
happened to
box
the
on it.
generator?
Approach
No.
Connie about.
I saw people saying the generator that they have out there right now had stopped.
We'd have to find the money, but I think we could do that.
Talk about fundraising. I'd get back into fundraising for a surf.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
creating a
there you
nonprofit.
go.
If it's no profit, I could non-profit the hell out of it.
Surfboard
Yeah.
We used to
companies and such.
fish off our surfboards
That's a
there.
great question.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would think they would.
I mean, that's when me and Phil Spencer
Yeah,
first
fish man.
started.
I felt so bad that what?
I know.
All right.
He was a- he was a-
Last segment, 9 minutes, 30 seconds. Y'all ready to fire it up?
Fired up. F you.
And we are back on Island Moon Live from our beautiful Waterline studios. Tyler Thorson, Dale Rankin, Denise Hawkins, Frank Floyd, Debbie Noble, and my name is Jacob Oggs. We are having a lot of very serious conversations here.
Very
We've solved the
serious.
water problems. We've identified all of our upcoming events. And one
We
thing,
built a surf pier.
We're building a surf pier. One thing that I do want to say is Dale found this a little while ago. It kind of reaches out to my heart. We're going to say a fond farewell to Augie Myers.
Yeah.
The gentleman who wrote "Hey Baby, Que Paso,"
And,
those
and
brilliant
Velma from
words.
Selma. Don't forget Velma from Selma.
Yes, exactly. He passed away at 85. So a big salute
The
to
last
all our
of the Texas tornadoes.
Exactly, all our
we
Augie
lost
Myers
Flacco
fans.
last year, and Augie was a regular visitor down here. He was that picture that we ran in the moon of him holding up the moon was taken in 2011 at the back porch.
Yeah.
In Port Aransas.
Yeah.
That's wild. We also have the final edition of the Ghost at the 33, which is a beautiful story from Captain Billy Sandifer of true events.
What hurricane was it that ran
Allen.
those? Allen.
Alan ran it off, but that's the greatest story.
In
And
80,
Billy would
yeah.
sit there and tell you that story, and I still get goosebumps. Our chicken skin from
Yeah.
that story because it's so like him.
Bumps.
It's so like him, and I never caught him lying, exaggerating somewhat, but not lying ever.
Yeah.
And
We'd have made a fine newspaper man.
yeah, he was. Yeah, yellow journalism in there. But
And
yeah.
speaking of, if you want to follow along with anything that we're talking about, you can just go to islandmoon.com where issue 1144 is up. Dale found some awesome plans for the refurb to Packery Channel Park. That's
Yes.
coming in. They're going to be putting in riprap and what we call a living shoreline, which is good. If you're not familiar with where Packery Channel Park is, it is free. It's open to the public, and you can fish almost right out of the back of your truck.
Behind the Sea Life Center.
It's a beautiful hidden
Yeah.
gem right by the Texas Sea Life
It's gonna be
Center.
nice.
Yeah,
when
just
they're
keep
done.
going past the Sea Life Center. Just follow that road
We
right down to the water.
also got drawings for the Turn Island work.
Yes.
Everybody's been for the last month or so. People, what are those barges doing over there? And that's what they're doing. They're rebuilding Turn Island, and so we got these are the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer drawings.
Yeah, those are the
Exactly
ones
what they're
presented
doing.
to City Council. It's a Rookery Island restoration project.
Nice.
So we're trying to save the rookeries.
Right. We need more. I guess we need more rookeries.
Yeah.
Well, before Harvey, you guys, I'm sure know this. We had a string of spoil islands out here that were bird nesting. So those
Sure.
are all gone.
Well, we used to have. Remember, we had the
side of
skimmer
the
park over there
causeway.
on the right as you came over the causeway. The skimmers used to nest there, like do not. And now they've taken nesting other places, and you got to watch out when you build these spoil islands. It's like, hey, it's a perfect rookery place for things like great blue herons and those egrets to nest. If you go to Packery, you see all those. They're big tree full of like white egrets. They're just.
And then the duck hunters show up and start blasting holes in the sky. Put blinds out there.
No, that was back in the day when they made it for
And
women's feathered hats.
They ran off Floby Rick, sent him flying to the duck country. Took his Floby factory and away he went.
Yeah, but Clooney still uses one. That's right. Yeah.
We are the birdiest city in America.
Yes, we are.
We have
And-
a Birdiest City in America festival here. That's like in the end of April, April
You're
22nd or so.
You're talking to the choir, preaching to the choir. I'm
I
over
know.
there at the Oso Wetlands Preserve all the time, looking at all the bird life over
I
there.
just went for a walk in there the other day with Amy Gaze, and it was beautiful.
Ain't it great?
Really,
So-
it's a really nice place, especially right now where the weather's not so hot.
We're
But you could tell it was dry in there.
We're right at the beginning of big spring migration, right? Have you seen anything yet, Tyler?
Just seen the vireos, and
Yeah.
you see the I don't know if the ibises are coming back or still going, because
Yeah.
I see those in the yard, and you see the long-billed curlews. But what should happen first is you get where's Jay when you need him? The first things come back are like ibises and whatnot. They'll come flying in there, and then of course we'll get the songbirds, and then I guess the peak is what, in May.
I think, yeah.
We'll get the fallout.
I had
They have that Birdiest Festival in the end of April because people come to see all those birds. And speaking of Packery Channel Park, there's some beautiful bird watching places in there too. That whole the little boardwalk there with that giant tree.
They're going
in
to
the
extend
middle
that
of it.
boardwalk, and they're going to be closing that part down for a good while
While they fix it.
Yeah.
And then there's the little Audubon Society area where they maintain that place.
Isn't
is
that
beautiful
nice?
too.
And-
I was in there a couple of years ago during this festival, and I saw so many of those painted
Painted
buntings.
buntings. They're
Oh my
gorgeous.
gosh, there
Yeah.
were like 20 or 30 of them, and they nail like fruit to some of the trees there.
Yeah, they
and
do that
bring
with
all
the Orioles. You put
But the
oranges on.
Orioles, there were so many
Yeah,
Orioles.
You got those coming up. So it's
Just beautiful.
It's coming.
Yeah, well, and I know
Long-billed
it.
curlews.
You just like that name.
Yeah, well, the other one used to
That'd
get
be our
Billy, like
name of our yacht rock band.
Marble Godwits. There's three
Yeah.
Marble Godwits. He writes it on his fruit. We call it-
Well, one night only at the Holiday Inn. Tell your
Yes.
friends.
No, I know when the Johnson grass starts sprouting in my backyard, that's when I start looking for the indigo and the
They
painted
like
buntings.
that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. If you go down that Holly Road sidewalk, the painted buntings hang out there because that's all that Johnson grass is there, and you'll see the painted
Ah.
buntings and indigo buntings are just stripping the seeds off that. They love that. Just a FYI for you birders.
I will have to
So
do
so the
that.
fishing
I take
is,
pictures of people taking pictures of birds. I take pictures of the people pointing at things.
So
Yeah.
best place for fishing then, you're saying, Bob Hall Pier this weekend.
Well, this weekend, just about anywhere because we've got water in the lagoon again. It's not like gone like it was.
Right.
And people are catching a lot of black drum. They're catching a lot of redfish. My buddy Boudin has been catching trout. I won't say where, but it's on the backside of certain islands. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no
That
more.
narrows it down.
Right. And there's a lot of sheepshead being caught at the pier. There were a lot of sheepshead being caught at the Packery
At
Channel.
Packery Channel.
And a lot of black drum. The big black drum, oversized, will be at the area pier. So if you can't fish or find something to do this weekend, I'm sorry, there's
And
plenty.
it's free. The pier is free right now still.
Well, I
You can go
saw
out there for
something this
free.
week I had never seen before. Maybe I just missed it. The charter fishing boat from over here at Snoopy's was parked right in the middle of Packery Channel, just outside of the 361 bridge.
It's the sheephead
that
sheephead
what it
rodeo.
is?
Yep. Sheephead spawn is starting right now,
And they go off and so it's like an underwater reef over there at Bob Hall Pier. So they go over there. They'll spawn offshore some of these rigs and reefs, and they'll go in packs. And they literally, guys were catching sheepshead.
Do you call a group
Yeah.
sheepshead a
Every
school or a
cast.
flock?
What do you call it? It's a goat,
school
a
of
herd.
sheep-
Yeah.
All fish aren't
Yeah, it's a
murder
murder
of
of crows.
crows.
Yeah. I love all those names.
Yeah.
Well, if it's all sheep, you'd better not be wrong.
That's right.
Tonight we've got the farmers market at Whitecap MPI, and
Yeah.
then next Thursday is the poker run.
Yes, it is.
That's
We're bringing
getting
that
fired back up.
Yeah, we're firing back up for the
who
season.
Who is the money going to?
I have not heard yet. It was
It says so on the flyer,
I
doesn't it?
believe they had to change charities. at
Texas
the
Sea
last
Life
minute.
Center.
That's right.
It says Texas Sea
Oh,
Life
good.
Center on the flyer.
I had to
Yes.
change at the last minute for some reason.
The March theme is under the sea, so dress as
So
your
dress-
favorite mermaid.
Dress,
Well,
yeah.
just wear
As,
your,
or anything you find under the sea.
wear a
You
dive
could dress
mask.
as a sheep's head.
Wear a dive mask.
There you go.
Be hard to drive.
There's another boat.
But-
there's the Buccaneer.
The
And
mermaid
then-
thing
and
leads
then-
you right into to whoop it up.
Whip
That's
it
right.
up. It's coming.
That's right, with the theme.
It's going to be. I'm looking forward to the market over at today
Yep.
farmers market, and I'm going to go Saturday and Sunday over at the
Boat show?
I'll probably be there on Sunday.
Well, you get good deals on Sunday as they're trying. They don't want to haul the stuff off. It's like an estate sale. The prices start to
Tonight
drop.
is also the KED Wine and Food Classic at the Science and History
Oh,
Museum.
that's
That's
right.
tonight, so I'll be there right after the farmers
And I
market.
used to go to those. We used to sponsor them.
So much fun, yeah.
Man, make sure you got a ride home. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, so
I do, but I have to
you
make
got
my
10
my
you
driver
got
has to have a ride home.
Especially
10
during
wineries.
spring break, there's a lot of cops on the island.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking of getting a ride home, people that didn't get a ride home, we got the weekend police calls listed. There were some pretty interesting ones. Terroristic threats. There's assault causing bodily injury. hit and run investigations.
Only
It's-
one involved gunfire, I think, didn't it?
And that was a public comment at the council.
Yeah,
Somebody, the lady that was against wasting water.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
Who
He hit
was
her
that
with a
guy who
squirt gun,
literally
didn't
who
he?
was from Port A? The guy who was there, he wasn't
dropped
even
the
from here.
F-bombs.
Yeah, he
Oh
was
my God.
calling.
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Yeah, that was
Well, he's
bad.
internet famous now.
Yeah, in a
Well,
bad, not in a good way.
We want to say a special thank you to Jay Gardner and Johnny Rodeo and Greg Smith and all our friends that are joined us on the show today. Tyler Thorson, Dale Rankin, Denise Hawkins, Frank Floyd, Debbie Noble. My name is Jacob Oggs. We are through with another one, but stick around if you want to watch any of these other episodes. You can go to Island Moon Live on YouTube and see how the sausage is made and watch what it's like to record a live radio show. And as always, we are so glad that you joined us here on KUYS Corpus Christi News and Talk 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. Everybody have a great day and keep it on Island Time.
John was really good last week.
John is.
He's got a radio voice too.
Who's John?
John Reynolds.
Okay.
Yeah, John was good.
President of the board. You know John.
Okay. Yeah.
He
yeah.
moved.
Yeah.
He moved.
Yeah.
He
His
was getting
husband?
scorched, and he moved
Yeah.
because the propane was like
Yeah, we
cooking
got
my
it.
skin.
Right here.
No, he was good. He went directly from talking about school stuff to boats.